Hello and welcome to the Will It Send Me to Hell podcast, the only Catholic podcast with the most self-explanatory title. My name is Dalton. Joining me here today is my good friend, Michael.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Thanks for the introduction.
He's a cool guy. I'm glad to have him here today. And today, last 2 weeks, we watched... What did we watch?
We watched Evangelion.
Thank you. Neon Genesis Evangelion. Thank you for reminding me. I forgot there for a second. Now,
Despite having spent all of your free time for the last 2 weeks consuming this show, it's been like hellish. Like, I like the show, spoiler, but like it's been nonstop consuming Evangelion.
We both work full-time.
Full-time jobs. I stream.
I worked overtime.
Yeah, like I've been getting behind on my Japanese studies. I haven't been able to read any books or anything. Mm-hmm. I come home, I watch Evangelion, I go to bed. That's it.
Yeah, that's the perfect life.
I liked it in a way.
Work, anime, sleep.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
I'm complaining, and there are people at home like, fuck. That sounds great.
So Evangelion is maybe the most controversial anime. One of the most. It's up there.
It's the most argued about, probably.
Yeah, it's polarizing.
Yes, everyone either loves it or hates it.
I don't know anyone who's lukewarm on it.
No.
I hate it.
And I love it.
So
we were pretty sure this was the positions we were going to come down with this. We had both watched it, for a little background, we had both watched the show once before.
Years ago.
At least a year ago. I don't know if it's been that long.
I was living in that apartment. It was a while ago.
Was that the first time we watched it?
Yeah, you drove all the way over. It's been a while. That was a long time.
Okay, yeah. And I believe we both liked it about the same until the ending, at which point we diverged.
Big time.
Well, I don't know. I didn't feel too strongly either way at the end. I still liked it.
You argued with me.
Well, because you didn't like it. That was the divergence. I liked it, you didn't. But now it's like, see, it's different now. Uh-huh. Back then, I liked it, you didn't like it. Now, I love it, you hate it. We've diverged even further.
Yeah. Yeah, yes.
So we're gonna capture both sides of the audience of Evangelion.
Totally. Now, I want to say too, I did, despite having my own preconceived notions from the first watch, I did really come into this with an open heart and open mind.
Okay, see, I don't believe you, but I will say the same thing.
I did.
I'll say the same thing. I came into this like I was fully ready to be like maybe the show sucks. Maybe it's better than I thought, which is how I feel now. But I was like, yeah. I'm open to whichever,
I've been wrong about stuff. Michael's a smart guy. Maybe he sees something I don't. But Michael also likes to delude himself sometimes. So, but not about shows, but about some things.
Okay, whatever, dude.
So it's like, I don't know. And yeah, I ended up thinking it was way worse than I first thought.
So yeah, I have a feeling this show is going to turn into us shouting at each other.
No, this is a fight.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fight.
This is like this is how any discussion of Evangelion must end. Because even if both people like it, even if both people love the show, it devolves into shit flinging when it's like, oh, you think Rey is the best girl?
Yeah. It's I guess we don't need to. I guess you can give a short plot summary.
Well, before that, I guess we've already said how we feel about the show.
Yeah, first, before we get into that, maybe I should say how I feel about you, Michael.
Wow, okay.
You're my best friend. I love you. No matter what we say during this podcast.
I can't marry you, Dalton.
No matter you, because I'm already married.
Exactly.
No matter what I say, we're still friends at the end of this.
Okay. What, am I going to get personally attacked?
I think you've developed a kind of a emotional connection with the show a little bit. I think that's fair to say.
I think you're wrong, but I could see why you might think that.
Oh, that's great. Because now I'm not going to hurt your feelings as much.
Well, I really like it now.
But yeah, I don't know. I think you maybe, had a connection. I think, something is speaking to me in the show, and
Okay.
Am I wrong?
I feel like I'm being accused. This is a show where a guy masturbates over a young woman's body and then chokes her out at the end of the scene.
Precisely.
So I feel like I'm being accused. I've never done that.
I know. I don't think you have, but I don't know. just wanted to say
whatever, dude. Okay, all right.
See, I said that as like an olive branch.
Okay.
But I guess a little backfire there.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're unaware, Evangelion is it's a whole. I mean, it's
a mecha anime, but it goes into some fucking crazy plot lines, and it's mostly a psychological show. More than anything.
And the end is like super abstract.
Yeah, but also parts of it are like on the nose almost, I think.
Yeah.
Like in a Kojima way.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, kind of. But what I was going to say, it's kind of a cluster trying to figure out exactly what to watch, because there's so many things that are Evangelion, and it gets confusing.
Yeah,
so do you want to tell listeners what we watched for this?
What we're
show?
talking about today.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we're talking about the original series, 26 episode long series, with episode 21 through 24 being the director's cut version of those episodes, which add a couple scenes and like clean up some animation and stuff like that. And
there's a couple major differences, but it's mostly minor.
Like I think the first two episodes, 21, 22, major differences. The other ones aren't.
Yeah.
And then we watched 25 and 26. You watched those, right? Mm-hmm. And also End of Evangelion, which a lot of people consider to kind of like override 25 and 26. I don't agree. I think you need to watch both. But we watched all of that. So the full series with the director's cut and End of Evangelion, the movie. We are not talking about the rebuild movies, though, which are completely separate. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're talking about.
That's probably what we're doing next.
That is almost certainly going to be the next episode, is we're going to cover the rebuilds.
If there is a next episode, if we're still friends at the end of this one.
I hope you love the rebuilds. That would make... I hate them.
I'm actually really looking forward to the rebuilds.
I think they'll be really interesting.
I kind of want to see...
If anyone's unaware, the last rebuild movie just came out, which is one of the reasons everybody's talking about Evangelion. It's why we wanted to go back and watch Evangelion, and it's why now we got to watch
Hold on. No. This was a happy accident that it ended up this
You're
way.
Right. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
The reason that we watched Evangelion... And I want to start the podcast in a second, so I'm going to be quick. The reason we watched Evangelion is because our associate executive producer, Matthew, on the last show who gave us money, said, you should watch Evangelion. And look,
after giving like $50 or something.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, yeah, sure.
Yes,
we'll do it.
That is how this show works. If there's something you would like us to review,
send us money.
PayPal.me/willitsendmetohell. Let's start the show.
But so... I think a basic plot synopsis is in order for this, simply for two reasons. Mm-hmm. One, to cover the part of the truth aspect. You know, we're covering the transcendentals, the beautiful, the true, and the good. Yeah. Is the show beautiful, true, or good? And so I think the plot speaks to sort of the truth aspect, and I'll get into that. Okay. But also, a lot of people they watch the show, especially if you just watch it once, and they don't understand what the fuck happened, especially sort of the background stuff. So the background of the show it sounds like something out of a Alex Jones rant, and it is 100%. I take that back. 60% real life. Okay, it's ambiguous whether the angels are aliens or religious or both. They're definitely aliens.
The angels are these big scary aliens.
Right, but
it's a mech anime. They're the enemies.
Yeah, but the point is, humanity comes from an extraterrestrial origin that shares its earlier origin with another set of beings called angels, and the humans that are related to these angels are trying to become immortal gods. Various members of like different organizations are trying to do this. By doing that, they accidentally, but then also on purpose, killed half of the population of the Earth. And now the aliens are trying to kill the humans to stop them from doing that, because for some reason that's never explained exactly, they can't coexist. And you can imagine if somebody you can't coexist with is about to become God, that's scary. But what I love about this, I feel like Hideaki Anno, the guy who made the show, whose name is going to come up a lot, I think. I feel like he's like a real conspiracy guy, because think about this. Ancient aliens are the source of human civilization. There's a international cabal trying to fuse all humans together into a hive mind god because they want a transhumanist future because they don't believe in the actual God, and they have taken over all governments to do this. And there's also weird Jewish/satanic imagery associated with all of that. I mean, like, I'm describing real life, is what I'm saying.
I thought the show was about, like, depression and growing up. And...
It's also about that. Yes, it is. That's the morality aspect, I think, and the psychology of it. Yeah. But basically, I just want to point out that, like, this show is...
It's a trip. By the way, everything Michael just mentioned is the last 3 episodes.
No, it's in all of it. But, yeah, I know what you mean.
Basically.
Yeah.
You watch the whole show and you go, this is a cool... big robot.
It's about episode 16, because that's where he gets absorbed into an angel. That's when it starts to like.
That's when he disappears into goop for a little while.
He disappears into the soup of life.
Yeah.
The origin of all mankind.
Yeah, it's a weird show.
Yeah, I just want to point out that it's like 100% based on real conspiracies, and I love that.
Kind of.
I have one. Okay. In one scene, right after Asuka is introduced into the show, Rey is reading a book, and it's in German. Okay. And I found the translation for what is written in German. Uh-huh. Part of it is just DNA sequencing. Part of it is something else that I'll mention later. But part of it is a quote from Prince, I believe it's Ludwig von Anhalt, who was the founder of the first ever German society, which the Illuminati was based off of. It was the Fruit-Bearing Society, which wanted to universalize German in all of Germany, and which ties into these shady organizations universalizing the entire world in Evangelion.
Yeah.
But literally,
the Germans are always doing that in real life.
Yeah, I know. Okay. But it's the inspiration for the Illuminati.
Okay, so, cool. Let's talk about the show.
What I'm saying is, he knew this was on purpose.
Oh, fine. I believe it was all on purpose.
You didn't until.
Okay, so. I'm going to talk about Evangelion for a little bit. This is the Dalton portion of the show. Welcome to the Dalton portion of the show, everybody.
Should we mention that didn't you want to mention the art style, by the way?
That's what I'm about to talk about.
Oh, okay, keep going. Fine, sorry.
But we're trying we're mixing up with the structure a bit.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about the art.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing you see when you see the anime.
It's the only thing you see, Dalton.
So we talk about the true, the good, and the beautiful. This show, even though I said I don't like it, it's beautiful.
It's a beautiful show.
I have absolutely nothing negative to say about the art. It's fantastic. Well, every once in a while, it's like, her face is kind of weird.
Yeah, later on, like, sort of the teen episodes, it's like, it seems like they lost a little bit of money. Some of the characters are a little off.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's like
it's fantastic.
It's the most beautiful show like I've ever seen, basically.
Yeah. In general, I think it's bad, but I think everyone should see, like, the first 2 episodes. Just because it's fantastic.
It's a work of art.
It really is a work of art, and it's like it's that old like 90s anime where it's just I don't know. It's what exactly is the difference between like
hand drawn? I think
it's all hand drawn.
Yeah,
is that?
Yeah, that's what it is. And it's that if you like that 90s anime style, it's like the best version of that.
But it's not just that too. It's everything's presented like so dry.
Yeah.
Like, which seems boring.
Weird detail. Well, something I noticed. They put a lot of work into like little details. Uh-huh. There was one in the we talked about the director's cut where they redid a couple scenes and stuff. There are some parts where it doesn't make any fucking sense why they changed things, but they did. There was one part where they literally just show a phone book like underneath like a payphone, and they redrew the whole phone book for the next scene. And it's like there's no importance to the phone book. It didn't look bad in the first one. They redrew the whole thing to make it look better. And it's like they clearly really cared about like the little details and making it look really nice.
It totally shows. Like like weirdly, some of the best like parts of the art in this are just the stills. Like it was
the city or someone's room
or like tanks or something.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's beautiful.
There's all these details.
All the mechanical stuff and there's some big fight sequences that they must have been rotoscoped or something because they're like the animation is so smooth, and it looks so real. Like the Evangelions, the big machines, not machines. It looks like they have like real weight to them. And do you remember in End of Evangelion that? Look, I told you I didn't like the show. I have so much positive to say about this show.
I know you're like excited about how
I really am.
Like you're like
I really am. Which should tell you something. In End of Evangelion, when Asuka's fighting all the
it's so good, dude.
and it shows her like in the pod or whatever, and she's like shaking around, and it
really feels like
so
she's
weighty.
It feels like she's really pulling with all her might to like get the arm to move to do like a punch or something. Like, I don't
think I've seen an anime or like an animated show that gets that so right.
Weighty's a good word for it too. The whole show is weighty. The whole show is like real. It feels real. It
really does.
There's a gravity to it.
And one of the crazy things about it, and this isn't like, okay, we had a squeaky chair, and then you replace it with a couch, and I've never heard of a couch that squeaks before.
It didn't squeak until just now, and now this chair's squeaking a little bit too. I don't understand. We're cursed.
Going on? So yeah, the art's great. Another thing that's just blows me away is the sound design.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird. Everything's so quiet, like all the time. Because people are just like, they're not loud. Or like maybe the camera's far away and it's just like you can kind of barely hear the character speak. And that doesn't do that in the English version, by the way. The English version is like loud the whole time.
Did you watch the dub at all?
A little bit here and there. I was wondering what the difference is. But
yeah, I guess we should also mention we watched the sub.
Yeah, don't do the dub. It is just worse.
Yeah.
Just for that reason alone.
Do you mind a quick aside about the dub?
Give me a quick aside.
Did you know the woman who played Asuka in the dub is obsessed with Asuka? After playing that role, she you know how like otakus and like weebs and shit will get a waifu and be just obsessed and buy all their merchandise and like just their life revolves around this anime character. She did that with the character that she voiced. Her house is like full of Asuka merchandise. She talks in her fucking Asuka voice, and like she is her own waifu. It's very strange.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Don't watch Evangelion.
Don't watch the English version.
Yeah. So that's the beautiful. Do you have anything more beautiful that you want to say about it, like in terms of aesthetically?
Do you know Misato was a skater? Did you catch that?
She was a skater?
In her room, you can see a skateboard, dude.
Nice.
Yeah. It's all these details. No, I have nothing else to say. I mean, actually, I will say this also has to do with the sound design and the look. A lot of the show is beautiful, but then on the other hand, a lot of the show is like disturbing. And when they want you to feel uncomfortable, you fucking feel uncomfortable. They can really capture.
There's some gore that's like a oof.
I mean, one of the biggest things that come to mind is when the other Evangelions, like the mass-produced ones, are like buzzards picking out the organs of Asuka's Eva.
Yeah.
It's like that is like the most disturbing scene.
Yeah,
and the sounds.
It's supposed to be like it's.
Oh yeah, obviously it's on purpose, and they do a very good job. Mm-hmm. So that's beautiful in like a non-beautiful way.
Yeah, well, that's more of in a true way.
Exactly.
Actually, yeah. So I do really like that. I want to get all my positive stuff out of the way first,
so you can just rag on.
So I can just rag on the rest.
So
you
don't have to stop yourself and like, I'm being too harsh. It's like, no, I'm not being too harsh. I already told him all the good shit.
Yeah, I really do stand by. People, go watch the first 2 episodes. Really, it's.
The thing is, you can't recommend that and then recommend them not watch the whole show, because if you watch the first 2 episodes,
I know
you're going to watch at least the next 15 episodes.
Yeah,
and then you'll get to episode 16 or 17, and maybe you'll be like, this is too much for me. Maybe. But probably not. You're too invested by that point.
Yeah. Now let me... I got more positive stuff to say. So now, positive stuff that I want to say about the themes of it.
Okay.
So, I think Michael and I might have got the same themes.
I think there are a lot of themes, but I bet we probably do.
There are a lot of themes, and Hideaki Anno says that himself.
Yes.
Which I would
Although
say,
he's also a liar.
Why?
He just does.
He's just a liar.
Some people say it's a thematic thing. I'll get into it.
Okay, so what is his own real life? That's like
people have claimed
that's beyond George Lucas.
No. Let me put it this way. People have claimed that before the show came out and in its early production, he purposefully lied about the show to give the impression while you were watching it that it didn't have some sort of deep psychological meaning, so that it would be a surprise when it came like episode 16, 17, and on. So he would say that like, oh, this doesn't mean anything. That imagery and symbolism doesn't mean anything. Those ideas, don't worry about it.
What if it was someone other than him that said
it's
those
just
things?
a mech. Yeah, I know I know about the assistant director, but I was going to point that out later. But basically, some people think he did that just to like blindside you more, and also maybe even as a meta thing, since in the show itself, the show blindsides you, and even further, the UN and everything.
We are in the weeds already.
Yeah. Okay. Keep going.
Okay. So the whole show, we have not mentioned Shinji yet.
We haven't mentioned any characters.
Asuka. She's got a lot of mention already. So the main character is Shinji.
Right.
All the kids are 14 years old. He's a 14-year-old wimpy fucking guy. Wimpy, cowardly.
To some extent, I would debate.
He says that himself about himself.
That doesn't mean anything.
I have a quote.
I know he does.
You can't just tell me. We're fighting already.
No, but
I tell you something about the show. You can't say that proves nothing. I'll say the same thing to you.
All I'm saying is calling yourself a coward.
He is a coward the whole time.
That just. What about when he says, "I'm going to destroy all of you because you forced me to kill that guy"? That's not cowardly.
Revenge is cowardly.
Anyway, what I'm saying is, if he's saying he's cowardly, shows that he's self-deprecating. It doesn't show that he's cowardly.
The premise, however, is he's a wimpy kid. He's a wimpy guy. He's fucking.
He's at least a low confidence guy, I'd say.
Yeah,
very low.
Yeah, he's depressed. He's lonely. Sure. He's cut off from everybody, and this is all pretty obviously because he was rejected by his father, and later we learn also his mother. That's the premise. We can talk about what happens at the end later, but that is the premise.
I was just going to specify. His mother died in an accident, and then his father immediately abandoned him following that accident.
Yeah. That's rough.
That's rough.
It's like, I get Shinji
that would result in a Shinji-like character.
It would. It absolutely would. And that's true.
That's the truth.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's the true in this show. And I think, so Shinji, he's the guy that there's so much in the show.
We're going with the assumption that you've seen the show or you don't care. So you don't need to explain too much.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
So Shinji in the beginning, he's going to be the guy who pilots the Eva, and this is a lot being forced on him all at once, right? There's a lot of responsibility. It's dangerous. Everyone's counting on him, right? You're with me so far?
Yes.
And he's a 14-year-old kid who's fucking depressed, who doesn't have parents. Well, he doesn't have one, and the other one hates him.
Yeah.
I really I can't think of any other media that I've seen that is sympathetic towards that kind of character.
There's maybe some other anime.
Okay, maybe anime. I don't watch that much anime.
Sure.
But it's rare. And I was thinking about that when I watched the first few episodes, because my impression from after the first watch was Shinji sucks. And then I watched this one and I thought Shinji does kind of suck, but like I get it. And I feel really, really bad for him, and it kind of made me realize there's no media that's sympathetic towards young men who, like me, who are not prepared at all for the world and growing up and responsibility. And it's like, I hate that I relate to Shinji, but I really do, and it's nice to see.
That's clearly why a lot of people resonate with the show a lot, is because there is not many other examples. And yet, it describes like half the fucking population.
Especially now.
Half of the male population.
No, especially now, and especially in Japan.
Oh, yeah, in Japan.
Because the fathers just aren't... It's a Japanese show. It's anime. It's very important, especially in Japan, to, the fathers aren't around, the salaryman type thing.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure it resonated even more then. But
it's only gotten worse, so it probably resonates now, too.
So,
Keep praising the show, dude. I like this.
Well, that concludes it.
You didn't like Asuka. You didn't like Misato.
No.
Wow.
So
you changed your mind
well,
on Misato.
I actually
dude.
do like Misato. She's a complex, interesting character.
Pedophile.
And I don't like that about her.
A phoebophile.
Yes.
I was just trying to help you out.
But I don't like that about her. But I will say she's a very interesting character.
Yes.
And I will also say she's the only one. So mid talking about the sympathy theme, I will reverse my position on this.
Okay.
This is taken too far. Because even though men are put into, especially now, into a horrible position growing up these days, it's nice to have sympathy, but it's kind of the point of the whole show in a way. The whole show has that line, that plot line of people saying like, Shinji, you just got to do it. Like, you have to have courage. You have to apply the Eva. You have to save everybody. And he just kind of is always refusing that call. He picks it every now and then when he feels like it. But really, as men, life isn't supposed to be fucking easy, and you should have courage and pick up your cross no matter what. And it's not fair. Like, it's not fair. Like, it is just not fair. I was about to say my age. You don't know how old I am.
Yeah.
But I'm a young man. I have a wife and a child who I got to provide for. You think anyone taught me how to do that? That's not fair.
Yeah, of course not.
It's not fair at all. I just have to do it. Like, it doesn't matter if it's fair or not. I just, pick up your cross. You make it work.
I get what you're saying, but it is worth mentioning that it's not just, most of the time, it's because he has some sort of internal doubt, and that's why he's not doing it. But sometimes it's like, my dad is telling me to kill my friend, and I don't want to kill my friend. And then he doesn't pilot the Eva. You know what I mean? So it's not always like he's a wimp. Sometimes it's like, this is immoral, and I should not do it.
But it's quite often. And everyone is always trying to give him pep talks and talk to him. And I think 26 episodes of that is just too long, especially toward the end. And not in Evangelion, but toward the 25 and 26, where it seems like everyone stops to just help Shinji. And if you're a NEET at home, don't fucking expect that ever. No one
That's true.
is coming to help you.
That was actually a big criticism of, just to tie it into something, because you were saying there's not a lot of characters like this. Uh-huh. One that came to mind, there's the show Welcome to the NHK, which you might have to cover at some point. It's about a NEET.
I've heard of that, yeah.
Yeah, it's about a NEET, and it's a really good show, really sad, but everybody says it's super realistic depiction of a NEET, except some girl comes and helps him out. And it's like, that is the worst message you can send to some NEET. Like, you need to get your own fucking life together. You can't expect a cute girl to come literally knocking at your door. So yeah, I see how somebody could watch this potentially and think like, people are going to, I don't know. I didn't see it that way, but I see what you're saying.
I think that's going to be, maybe we won't fight. Maybe we'll say like, I see what you mean.
Maybe.
the whole show.
Yeah, we'll see.
Because, I just want to reiterate, because if you're listening to this, then you listen to podcasts, and then I know something about you. No one is coming to help you. Think about that one. So that one is a very interesting theme, I thought. Number 2, feminist.
You think it's a feminist show?
I think there's feminist elements to it. I don't think that the whole show is trying to push a feminist agenda, but I think Hideaki Anno has perhaps internalized some things, because I think he's a weak beta male, and I think he's got kind of a little bit of a women are wonderful situation going. My favorite character in the show, Misato, I'm ashamed to like, not because of the ephebiophile thing, but
because she's a slut.
She's kind of a slut. As far as we know, it's only been with one guy.
Not true.
Oh, is there a different one?
The guy with the glasses? She definitely slept with him.
Really?
Well, really? Okay. This is one of those things. This is going to come up later, too. There are things in the show where it's like, that obviously happened. Because, like, they literally have a line where it's like, you'd sleep with anybody. And then it cuts to him. And it's like, oh, he slept, and they're like real friendly at the end of the show, you know?
They are. Okay, all right, you met my brother. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for helping my point.
Sure.
But the only competent, good characters are women. You can also say like, oh, but what about Gendo? Well, he's fucking gone, dude. That guy's out of here.
Well, who are the good characters? I don't know. Who are you describing as good?
So Misato is like, she's on it all the time, and even like she's fucked up a couple times, but like she takes responsibility. Like she's just a dynamite 10 out of 10.
I mean, she also does say, like, literally word for word that is all a facade.
That's true.
So that's not a great.
But she's still good at it. But she's still good at it.
Okay.
She's still really, really good at it.
All
well,
right.
and the big feminist episode is the one where they go to what was it, America? What country makes the actual robot instead of an Eva? They make a big robot.
Oh no, that's in Japan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that episode, all the men make a big robot, and then Misato and the science bitch, I always forget her name. Ikari? No, that's the main character. That's the man.
No, Ritsuko. Ikari's Shinji's last name.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I know, I remember. Okay. So, Misato and Ritsuko the whole time are saying, like, this is a bad idea, it's not going to work. And all the men say, like, stupid bitch.
Yeah.
It'll work fine. That was a pretty feminist episode.
A little bit, except when Shinji, the man, saves the day. Although Misato actually saves the day.
Misato saves the day.
You're right. Misato saves the day in that one.
The whole show isn't feminist, but there's a feminist. Women are wonderful throughout the whole thing.
I think it's a stretch, and I'll give you two quick reasons.
Okay.
One, Shinji saves the day 90% of the time, and Asuka, the woman, the hot-headed, strong, independent woman, constantly complains about how, and eventually ends up breaking down crying because Shinji always saves the day. That's pretty anti-feminist. And then...
But she's very competent.
Not really. At the end of the show, she literally can't even get the robot to move at all. And they have to replace her with a dude who's gay. Which is like double dude.
Interesting.
So,
that's the energy take on gay.
So I don't think very feminist in that way, and I forgot my second point, so continue.
Well, all right. Well, Misato's great, and a woman who's good, that is feminist.
The other reason I don't think it's feminist.
Point too.
The other reason I don't think it's feminist, the show ends with Shinji choking a bitch out.
Men are horrible, aren't they? They'll do that to you.
But then he cries, and it's a happy ending. So I don't think it's a feminist show. It's a fact. I'll explain later how it's a happy ending.
I'll explain later how it's nihilistic. I know that my other feminist point. The computer, the supercomputer, the Magi. The Magi?
The Magi, yeah.
That runs the whole city. Mm-hmm. Those are the three different parts of a woman they're based on, right?
Yeah.
What are those three parts, Michael?
Woman.
Yes.
Mother.
Uh-huh.
Scientist.
Yes. This is Ritsuko's mother built this computer, and three computers with slightly different personalities that are, quote, in constant conflict.
Yeah. Like women.
Do you think
women are in constant conflict
woman
with each
and
other.
mother are different? They have different opinions?
Well, I think the actual translation was, when they use the word woman, they a lot of times are talking about lover. Sometimes they say lover instead of woman. So yeah, lover and mother, perhaps.
But the point of loving is to have a mother. Is to become a mother.
I guess you're saying.
I don't like that woman and mother are separate, and also that equal piece of the pie is scientist.
Well, but it was also
the three parts of me, Michael, are man, father, delivery guy. those are equal parts.
No, but
me
you also have to remember that this was all framed in a bad way, because this was all being told to us through Ritsuko, who hates her mother because she always focused on being a scientist over being a mother. So this is seen as a bad thing. Like, very explicitly.
Okay, you change your mind.
Okay, all right.
I've gone back from definite feminist elements to slight feminist elements.
I think that one episode, I did catch it. That
was a very feminist.
That one episode, especially when it's like when the guy says like, "This dumb bitch." That was where I got like, okay, all right. But after that, I didn't get anything else really.
Okay, you got me on that one.
Okay,
that's okay. I got more.
All right.
So, let's see. Oh, here's a fun one. So the fact that the show is confusing, and you kind of takes a second watch to really grasp what's going on.
Right.
That's not a positive. That is a negative.
Depends on what you mean. Do you mean the fact that it's hard to follow, or the fact because there's two elements?
It is hard to follow. It's hard to follow. It really is hard to follow.
I agree with you, and I disagree with you. I would say it's a negative that it's hard to follow. It's a positive that there's enough in it to warrant a second watch.
Yeah. But
so
you don't get it, and I think.
Yeah. I think you get it at a psychological, emotional level. You don't get the plot necessarily, but you get most of like what the message is, at least the psychological.
A lot of Japanese media at the end just tells you what the message is. I'm realizing that more and more as I play video games and watched it. It's like they just tell you.
Which is why you should not skip episode 25, 26, because he tells you exactly what it's about.
But I think a lot of people who watch the show will say like, you're just not smart enough to get it. It's like, well, no, it would be a negative on the show writers, the writer, really.
To some extent.
No, I'm not saying you think that. I'm not saying you think you're super smart for getting it. I think it's...
I agree with you insofar as that the plot, because I think the psychological aspect and the messages with that, you get it the first watch. Mm-hmm. It's more the plot that you don't, and if you're the kind of person who cares about the plot a lot, even though the show is focusing more on the psychological part, then yeah, it's a big downside that like, could you have made this a little more fucking clear? Mm-hmm. Like, could you just added one episode where like some of this shit was explained more than a single line?
Yeah.
I get that, but it didn't bother me. But I get it.
That's all right. I'll give you a doozy this time.
I did think though when I was watching it, like there were some themes that it explored where I think like, I think Angel Beats did this better because it was just so clear. Like.
All right. So what about the final message of the show, which I think is slightly different than the final message of the movie. Slightly different.
I think they're the same, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. So the final message of the show is you should accept yourself.
I didn't think that's what the final message was. I mean, somewhat.
You are incorrect.
I mean, he does say...
It's a quote.
Yeah. I know he says, like, I'm me, and that's enough.
He says, these are the last lines of the show. Some of the last
before
lines.
The movie.
Before the movie. Shinji says, I'm a wimpy coward. I need to learn to love myself, which I didn't write in quotes.
Because you cut out part. Yeah, because he says like, I'm a coward, but maybe I can learn to love myself.
Exactly, yeah. But maybe I can learn to love myself. And then, quote, I want to be me. And then we get to the famous congratulations immediately after that.
Yeah.
So that realization, I'm a wimpy coward, I need to learn to love myself, I want to be me. That tells me you suck. And you know it.
Yeah.
And that is good. Congratulations, you've now accepted who you are.
But he doesn't say like that's the end of that. Like
the show ends.
No, it doesn't. There's a movie. To be clear, like everything you just said is like actually pretty basic Catholic teaching about being humble. You have to accept where you like
There was no indication
of
change there.
Yeah, there was. He's hated himself the whole time. The first part, for instance, in Scripture, love your neighbor as yourself. If you hate yourself, you can't love your neighbor. That's part of the message of the show at the end, is that he's like despising everyone around him. Asuka's also despising everyone around her. And the reason is because they hate themselves. So before they can mend their bonds with other people, they first have to recognize who they are and begin to be able to love themselves before they can mend their relationships with other people.
I think you're right, but I don't think that the change part was expressed. Because what happens is I accept myself, and there is a whole, throughout the rest of the show, and the movie as well, people are telling Shinji, figure out who you are. Constantly. That's always... they
earlier.
Actually say it.
I don't think they say it towards the end.
They say it in the movie, too. They say it right... Misato does, just off the top of my head, right before she's revealed to be an Amphibophile. She says, you need to figure out who you are.
I don't remember that. But okay.
I don't like that theme. Figure out who you are. That's the kind of thing that hippies say, who never really did anything with their... I'm just trying to figure out who I am, man. That's how you have weird sex get gonorrhea, and try drugs. It's because you're just trying to figure out who you are. I don't need to think too much about myself to say, man, I should go to the gym today. Like, I don't need to be like, there's a tendency for certain people to look just too inwardly. They look so inwardly, like, and not critically, but like they want to. Have you been around people from California very much?
Not really. You're technically.
I am, yeah. But there's this whole thing where I want to figure out really who I am deep inside.
Yeah,
it's like an eat, pray, love type mentality thing. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. You know what's interesting? Who is your favorite girl in this? Is it Misato?
Yeah.
Because you're expressing exactly the mentality of Asuka. Like word for word. Like your whole thinking right now is what Asuka thinks.
Don't you fucking talk to me like that on the show.
I'm just letting you know, dude. I'm just letting you know that you're literally like expressing how Asuka argues with Shinji, except you didn't say, you fucking idiot. But.
Well, there's a difference between like self-knowledge and figuring out who you are. And I think the real distinction there is like self-knowledge is figuring out why you are the way you are, right? I think that's important for people to do, especially if you have like problems in your life. That's fair to say, right?
Yeah.
But if you're framing it as I need to figure out who I am, then what naturally follows is your big problems, your flaws, you'll internalize. You'll accept as that's who I am.
I mean, we don't have any evidence that he just says like I'm a coward and that's that. You know what I mean? Like especially with the movie, he's come to this conclusion and then changes his ways and does the exact opposite of what he wanted to do before. So I think the change is actually extremely like he realizes. To be clear, by the way, did you catch that episode 25 and 26 happen at the same time as the movie?
Kind of.
So like 25 and 26.
I didn't think it was that explicit. But...
Oh, yeah. Episode 25 and 26 are like extended what's happening to Shinji when the human instrumentality is going through.
Okay.
It's not that important, but it is. So the end of the movie takes place after 25 and 26, which happens anyway, but
yeah.
So Shinji has come to the conclusion that he's accepted himself. He knows that he is a coward. But then he does the brave thing and no longer runs away from his problems and accepts himself in a world with suffering. Because before he was going to exist in a world where all souls fuse together, and since there's no differentiation between individuals, there's no way people could hurt each other because there is no other. And that was what he desired. That's what Rei says is, this is the world you desired.
Yeah.
And then he says, this isn't right. And he changes and goes the complete opposite direction and accepts a world of suffering.
Okay, I think that's fair that happened. But then he killed Asuka at the end.
He didn't kill her. She was alive.
Was she?
Yeah, she has the final line of the movie.
Oh, yeah, she does.
She says kimochi warui, which means bad feeling.
Okay.
Yeah, she says bad feeling, which is translated to, like, disgusting.
But did he change at all?
He did literally the exact opposite. The entire movie, he's been running away from interactions with other people because he's afraid that he'll hurt them or they'll hurt him. And that finally comes together in the end of the movie where he wipes away the identity of everyone in the world, kills everyone in the world so that there will be no one to hurt each other. And then he realizes, this is wrong. I only did this because I hate myself. I now accept myself. I realize that other people are worthwhile and like the connections or whatever are worth having even if we hurt each other. So I'm going to undo killing the entire world. So he goes from one extreme to the exact opposite. So okay. Yeah, that's a big change, I'd say. He goes from killing the entire world to reviving the entire world. You literally could not have a bigger change.
Yeah, I guess.
How could you have a bigger change?
I don't know. That didn't make a huge difference to me in watching the show.
Was it too deep for you? I'm sorry.
No, it wasn't too deep.
That's just what everybody says,
Well, no, I got what happened. It's like, yeah, he did choose to not have that happen.
Well, he chose to reverse it because he already did it.
Yeah, but I still got the point that he was accepting himself.
Yeah, he was accepting himself so that he could change, which is like basic, like Catholic teaching. Like you have to recognize your sins before you can go confess them and vow to not sin anymore. If you don't accept the fact that you've sinned, if you're too prideful, because some people do that, they'll be like, I can't believe that I've sinned. Whereas the saintly perspective, there are saints who have said stuff like this, where it's like, I wish I remember. I think it was like Saint Dominic or someone. There's like a quote where it's like, after he sinned, he would say to God, like, I did it again, Lord. You better keep a good eye on me today, or I'll do it again. And like, because it's like, that's humble. It's like, I know I'm that kind of person. I'm going to change by the grace of God, but I am a worthless or a cowardly person. And that's what Shinji does. He recognizes that I am a coward. And then he changes and does the opposite of the cowardly thing he's been trying to do the whole movie, the whole show.
I guess I didn't read that change as being especially monumental.
I mean, it's a big scene.
It didn't carry like any emotional weight for me.
I don't know, dude.
Like at all, and it just seemed like Shinji being more flip-floppy, which he is throughout the whole show. He's very flip-floppy.
Yeah, but this is a final decision of like, I'm going to accept a world of suffering.
Was it in the same way it was final when he told his father he's not piloting the Eva anymore and does again 5 minutes later?
Yeah, but that was an interesting... first of all, that's different because like this is...
Oh, that's different.
Piloting an Eva versus not piloting an Eva is a little smaller than killing the entire world and not killing the entire world.
It's the same thing.
No, it's not.
Because he thinks he's saving the world.
No, because see, with the Eva, that was a moral question. It was a question of and it's a tough moral question actually. So he was fighting an angel who was possessing the Eva and like the body basically of his friend. His friend was unconscious. Mm-hmm. His friend was not the one attacking Shinji.
No, I understand.
But if Shinji fights back, he's probably going to kill his friend. And Shinji's actually a very moral character. He's like the most moral character in the show just because of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just because of that scene where he says, it would be better, they said, you have to kill him, you'll die otherwise. And he says, it would be better for me to die than to murder him. And it's like, that's true. That's 100%. And he's the only character who, later, they start telling him, like we all would have died if you didn't murder that guy. And he says, like, don't make me angry by saying something like that. And, like, that's the most moral thing I've seen in, like a lot of shows, you know? But, so, like, it's different. It's like, that's a moral conundrum. Whereas this is him finally getting over his cowardice.
But it seemed like he got over his cowardice a bunch of times before.
No, because all the other times were him seeking a different refuge. Like earlier when he leaves the first time, like episode 4 or 5 or something, he comes back and it's revealed later sort of his thinking because he wants to impress his father. That's not him overcoming his cowardice. That's him just being dependent on somebody else again, which is a big theme of the show. So like every step where he gets back to being a pilot again, he's not overcoming his cowardice. He's just finding another outlet.
I think we're gonna have to agree to disagree on this point because
because
I think you're right and you have points. I read it completely different.
Okay. Well, I think you definitely read it wrong in this case because like you got the dependent theme right of like the whole show.
Yeah.
Like one of the episodes is called oral stage or oral phase, which is the Freudian term for like a dependent phase. And so it's like he's dependent on his father. He's dependent on people's approval. You know, and it's like that's why he went back to being a pilot. It's not. It had nothing to do with overcoming the cowardice.
Okay.
So he doesn't overcome the cowardice until the end.
Well, I don't know. Everyone kind of convinced him in the end anyway. So is that really him making the decision, or is it?
He didn't make the decision until everyone was dead. So nobody could have.
My
convinced
next
him.
point.
Well, I mean, you're just wrong. Everybody was dead. So
I think you're wrong. I think.
And Ray was the only person who was still alive was Ray, who was telling him, "This is the world you wanted. Like, isn't it? This is it." And he's like, "This is wrong."
My next point.
Okay. I'll have more to say about some of this stuff anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
I should have done maybe my strongest first, which I think might be this one. This isn't the main theme of the show. It's kind of an accidental theme of the show, but I think it's extremely dangerous. Okay. And that is neglectful parents love you deep down.
I didn't get that except maybe with Asuka's mom.
Oh, that's not one of the ones I got.
Oh, really? Because I think the other ones, it's not.
So I think we can both agree Shinji's main issues with confidence will come down to his father rejected him.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
But then at the end, I want to get the exact quote right here. Okay. In End of Evangelion, Gendo says, "If I were with Shinji, I would only hurt him. Leaving him alone was the best thing to do."
Yeah, and then the other characters point out that he's a coward, just like Shinji. That was the point of that scene.
No, I get it, but
he's not a good guy. He's seen as a bad guy for voicing that sentiment. It's not.
No.
They literally the next thing the other characters say is calling him a coward. You're just like Shinji. Like he's not supposed. This is not like he actually loves his son. It's like no, you're running away. Is what they say. You're running away just like Shinji. The point of that scene.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%. The point of that scene is that you are just like Shinji.
I wish I had the scene right now. I would watch it.
Well. I mean, we can't. I mean, I've got it, but we can't really.
I don't think that's what the point of that scene was.
100%. Like, there's no. It just doesn't make sense otherwise, and that's clearly what the character. It
does make sense because
the characters are confronting him with this.
Misato's father does the same thing. Misato's father ignored her whole life to do his work, but then at the end he gave his life for her.
Right, which is seen as something that Misato's very conflicted over because she still hates him. So again, not seen as like oh, he redeemed himself, but it's seen as like, what the fuck am I supposed to feel about that? He did one good thing, but he had a lifetime of being shit. How am I supposed to feel? I'm gonna go sleep with random dudes because I don't know how to feel about this. So again, I don't know what you're getting at. The show doesn't view that as positive, not at all. The show views that as very confusing, which it is.
It is confusing, but I don't think the love is shown as.
They don't show it as love. I mean,
I think that, I don't know.
They show it as just confusing.
It's like we watched two different things.
No, you're pulling things out like you're ignoring some other aspects of it. Like the point that if she was like, if that was enough for her to just like, okay, my dad sacrificed himself for me. He truly loves me. Then why did she have psychological problems and try to go fuck her father? Because they specifically say that's what she's trying to do by going with Kaji. If it was as simple as he actually loves you and she just accepts, oh, he actually loves me, then she wouldn't have these psychological problems.
She is portrayed as conflicted about it, but
which is not shown in any way by the show as like not the way to feel about it, you know, other than you shouldn't sleep with random dudes. But like I don't know where you could have ever got the idea that the show thinks that's a good thing.
From the show.
Where in the show?
From Gendo and from Misato. Misato's father.
No. Where did you get from Gendo's father? Where did they portray that positively? You're just showing that it portrayed it, and I'm showing all the ways it portrayed it negatively. Where did it portray it positively?
He was also clapping at the end, with also wishing his son congratulations.
No. Misato's father.
Oh, Misato's? We don't have as much from him.
Yeah, there's no evidence that was portrayed positively in any way, but there's lots of evidence that it was negative.
Okay.
And with Gendo, they confront him directly after, so I'd say that. With the clapping thing, it's like, he's a major character. They had all the major characters. I don't know if I'd read too much into that one, to be honest with you. You know, like, all the major characters were there clapping, so.
Do you hate Gendo?
Gendo, I mean, he's like a piece of shit character. He's supposed to be, but I don't really have, like, there's a fucking fly in here now.
Pause.
Unclick the pause and then it just starts going. Oh, okay.
Well, the fly flew downstairs.
Yeah, it's in the basement now, so I don't. I guess that's fine.
We'll deal with that again.
Yeah, I was just saying though. No, I don't hate Gendo necessarily, but he is clearly a bad character. Like he's supposed to be a bad guy.
Okay.
I think there's no doubt that he's a bad guy.
All right.
So.
Okay, I think we read that one a little differently too.
You thought Gendo was supposed to be a good guy?
At the end, I thought we were supposed to go like, he really did like him.
Dalton, I don't know how.
Wait. Hold the phone.
Dalton, this is the guy who wanted to kill all of humanity so that he could get his dead wife back, who also is the reason half of humanity died.
I know.
I don't think you're supposed to see this guy as a good guy.
Hold on. Just the fact that, was it Ritsuko? Calls him a coward doesn't mean he didn't really love Shinji.
It's not just Ritsuko. It was like the angels were calling him. Or not angels, well, it was Kaoru and Kaoru, whatever his name.
Kaoru.
Sometimes it's Kaoru and sometimes it's Kaoru, whatever. Him and Rei, I think.
Yeah.
We're calling. Yeah, but they never say that he loved Shinji. They literally never say that. So there's also that fact.
No. Gendo says.
No, he says it was better for us to be apart.
Yeah.
He never says he loved him.
The implication was he really did care about Shinji all along.
No, I don't think so.
He didn't.
Yeah, I don't think he did either. I think there's not really any indication that he did. He clearly did all of this. I mean, the entire show, he's putting Shinji in like shitty situations. He's treating Rei better than Shinji.
Yeah.
Like it's very clear that he does not.
Isn't that really, really bad?
Yes, it's very clear that he does not care for Shinji. That's why he's like the villain of the show for most of it.
So why does he say that at the end, that it would be better?
To show that he's a coward, just like Shinji. He's no better. He's not some like criminal mastermind who's actually got it all together. He's just another coward.
Why isn't ever addressed in the whole show that Shinji's real problem is with his father? He needs to reconcile or move past his father.
The first episode, he was going there to tell his father he hated him and to never see him again.
Okay.
It's addressed from second one, although they reveal that that's what episode 1 was about later. But you know what I mean? Like from the very beginning of the show, that's what Shinji's trying to do, is to move past his father.
Yeah.
I mean, people in real life have a hard time doing that.
It seems to me that the main conflict of the show is between Shinji and his father.
It's a pretty big conflict, yeah.
His main conflict that's preventing from moving on. But then it's...
The fucking fly's back.
I saw it.
Hold that. Yeah, hopefully that doesn't pick up on the microphone because we've once again failed to kill the fly.
I don't know where it went.
No, I have no idea. You were saying about Gendo.
What the hell was I talking about?
I don't know, dude. Some bullshit.
It's so annoying. It's like it's
I
flying
know.
right past
it's
my
so
head,
annoying.
And then it goes somewhere else. I can't focus on this thing.
It's not here right now.
Well, okay. I guess I don't even know where the fuck I was. Oh, so that's what it seemed like the main conflict was, and not that Shinji was shutting everyone out, although that is bad. It seems like Shinji's main issue is being rejected by his parents, as many people's issues are, IRL. And it seems like putting all the problem on Shinji not accepting himself and other people is a little bit of victim blaming.
Okay, I could see that, but it is sort of a matter of like, at the end of the show, see, I thought you were going to maybe say just the fact that it's not like directly addressed. Like he kind of gets over his problems, but he does not have a scene where like, fuck you, dad, this is it.
Well, yes, but it isn't directly addressed, but that leads to what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think that's mostly just because like him having this relationship with his father, of his father abandoning him, is what leads to all of his other problems.
Uh-huh.
But it is not the problem. Do you know what I mean? Like it is a problem, but you can't solve it necessarily. He already has been abandoned.
I think in real life that makes a difference. That might be the issue.
Well, it depends, but I mean, for the most part, you can't change somebody. So it's not like he can go to his dad and like, hey, Dad, can you like go back in time and raise me for the last 12 years?
Correct, but you can try and have an honest conversation.
Yeah, well, his dad was dead at this point, so.
Well, yeah, but that would be an issue with the story, right?
I know. I'm just fucking with you, but no, I think the point is that he is. I think you're right to some extent that it may have been better with a scene that shows him like actually confronting his dad.
Yeah.
But instead, they show him moving past the problems that his dad caused showing that he's just moving past it, which is what you would have to do in real life if, for instance, your dad was dead, right?
Well, you'd still need to come to terms with your father. Like if you're still if your father's dead and you're still thinking like, yeah, but he was right about all this stuff or whatever, and he was abusive or whatever, then you would still need like a little internal,
right? Which is what happened with the internal dialogue with Shinji.
But not about his father.
Yes, exactly about his father. They at one point when they ask him over and over, why do you pilot the Evangelion? And for a while his answer is to impress my father. And Asuka says, what a coward. Like, what a terrible reason to do so. Like, he literally has this internal dialogue about he's only doing anything at all to impress his father, and he stops that by having this internal dialogue. So that exact thing you said should have happened does happen.
Does it really?
Yes. And Asuka calls him out. And Asuka, in this way, is, just his internal dialogue.
Okay. You might be right.
All right.
Maybe. I don't know. I think. See, now you're getting me to think maybe I should watch it again, but I don't want to.
The thing is,
I
though,
really don't want to.
In a year, you might want to watch it again.
No, I won't.
Oh, you're crazy.
For more reasons.
Okay, keep going.
So I guess the reason I have all these reasons is, as Hideaki Anno says himself, there's no like one theme. There's a lot of different themes.
Yeah, there are a lot of different themes.
So
That's
I'm kind of
Yeah. It's got a lot of layers.
Yes, like an ogre.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing our.
Dalton really wants to cover Shrek on one of these.
I do.
Episodes.
I want to do Shrek. So, reason number 5, I think you shouldn't watch this show. It is pervy to the extreme.
I somewhat agree. I'll say, well, this is actually worth mentioning. Just as the segment we normally have that we skipped. Will this show send you to hell? Like explicit sexuality. Mm-hmm. Like, to be clear, this show has no nudity until the last like episode or 2 and like the whole movie.
Yeah.
And then it's got nipples.
Yes.
And
explain to me how old those nipples are, Michael.
I guess it's God, apparently, right? Because she's become a god at that point.
What about the other nipples?
She's also the first. Asuka's nipples are definitely 14, though. There's no way around that.
That's...
Ray's nipples, she's like, might technically be a part of like the progenitor of all mankind, so as old as it can possibly get. But Asuka's definitely 14.
I got a question for you, Michael. Mm-hmm. What if you touched a bare boob? You with me so far?
And it sunk through her chest?
No. Hold on. I'm not talking about that part. I'm talking about the other part. This is weird, by the way. We gotta distinguish which part we're talking about.
Yeah.
What if you did that,
mm-hmm.
but it was actually your mom, but a clone of your mom? But hear me out. She's 14.
Right. Yeah.
How would that make you feel?
Yeah. No. It's almost like this show is based off of Freud.
It's
which it is. That's one of my biggest complaints. It's the Freudian stuff, and I'm like, for real.
It's really
Freudian.
It's really pervy. The whole show.
Not the whole.
Throughout, yes.
But like it'll be like once every couple episodes. But then it'll be pretty bad.
There is fan service of a 14-year-old girl throughout.
Asuka
once she shows up, yes.
Well, that's 8 episodes in, so that's a third of the show. But
okay.
But I'm just thinking, like, what?
There's lots.
There's a couple. I can think of a couple for sure.
Very small bikini. We got lots of.
No, it was the thick bikini. Remember? She was actually wearing a comically like thick one.
Oh no, I'm talking about at the bottom part.
I didn't notice the bottom.
The 14. I guess you know where Michael and I stand. So, I mean, how do you defend it?
But I do remember the cleavage on one shot. Well, the reason, and that's why I would say it's important to note that there's no actual nudity until the end. And then
I don't care.
But here's what I'm saying. You said why? How can you defend it? Well, it's very clear why it's done. The reason is because it's a unconfident 14-year-old boy as the main character, and a fatherless/motherless 14-year-old boy. Like, unfortunately, this falls into the truth element.
Okay, I'll give you that for some, but there's some when Shinji's not even around, and that's what we get. Like sometimes I do get it. I get what you're saying. Like,
yeah, no, I agree. I think Misato's actually worse in that way.
Yeah, I think so too.
For fan service.
She even says in the teaser to the next episode,
Servisu.
Yeah, there's lots of fan service in the next one. From me,
yeah,
there's a lot of that.
And then other times she says like, it's a sad episode next time. Like,
but there's, especially because they're 14, I don't like it. I'm not saying watching Evangelion makes you a pedophile, but I am saying that it definitely doesn't not give you points in that skill tree.
You watched it.
Your favorite
character was the pedophile.
My favorite character was of age. Yours was not.
Which is what makes her a pedophile. My favorite character...
Look, I don't like that about her. I don't have that many characters to choose from. I don't like any of them. So...
What do you mean, dude? There's like 18 angels you could have chosen from.
I can choose those?
Everybody likes the diamond one.
The rhombus.
What is it called? It's got a name. Like, it's actually people joke that that's the best girl. It's like Ramiel or something.
Oh, yeah, that one is my favorite angel, actually.
Everybody says that's the best girl.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point.
No, I get what you're saying, and I think there are certain points for sure where it goes too far. But I
would say most of them.
No, I wouldn't say that.
I think there are better ways to portray a horny 14-year-old boy than showing me, a man, 14-year-old girls almost their complete nipple, and then their complete nipple, and then come.
To be clear, it's not like a live action scene or something. Just the way you're phrasing it.
I know it's not live action.
Because you're right. Because there is a better way than doing that, and this is a better way than doing that. Do you know what I mean? Are you going to say that this is not better than child pornography? This is definitely better than child pornography.
Yes.
That's all I was saying. No, and you said, correct. I don't know.
But it's...
I agree that there's...
I am uncomfortable watching it. Even the parts that have some story merit, I still wish they did it in a different way, because I don't want that.
How do you feel about the book Lolita?
That's a book.
How do you feel about the movie, the 90s movie Lolita?
There were some parts that I didn't like as much.
Okay, I'm just checking because that's one where
I'm consistent on this issue.
Okay, and that makes... Although, see, that's the thing, though. In the 90s movie Lolita, the actress is of age.
That is true.
Which makes it better, right? Obviously. But the characters in the show don't have an age, so by default, they're also, not under it. You know what I mean? Like, they're not...
They're clearly portrayed as such, Michael.
But they're not a... Yeah, but so is the actress in Lolita. The actress in Lolita is made to look underage.
Pornography is in the mind.
Oh, well then just don't believe it's pornography. That's what I did.
I personally feel it goes too far.
I think there are certain scenes that do. But I don't think it's.
What about the scene where, and this is from Shinji's perspective, where we're looking directly down Asuka's shirt.
That's the scene I was thinking about. That's pretty bad. But that's from Shinji's perspective. But it's also...
Which I will forgive if it's one. But I'm sitting there with my wife watching this, and we're both like, oh, dude, stop doing that all the time, constantly. And there's also, tangentially, I don't like that Shinji's being humiliated all the time. That feels a little icky to me.
But that's just because he's weak-willed. It's another truth aspect.
I know, but it's kind of like a...
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. I don't want to... I'm learning too much about Hideaki Anno. It kind of feels icky.
Yeah, I think what it is to some... I think it goes too far. I agree. I don't think it does it as often as you're saying it does it. I think in some situations I see why he did it for an artistic reason, whereas there are other times where it's like, I don't think he did it here for an artistic reason.
Yeah, when Rey's in her Eva and there's the angel that like invades her body, and we're getting close up on like her veiny 14-year-old breasts with the thing over, and she's
that's because
she's writhing and all, and it's just, look, I know about tentacle porn, okay? You don't have.
Well,
to.
no, I mean, like, the reason for that scene is because her mind being invaded is supposed to be like a metaphor for sex, which is why on the screen, instead of like damage or like something like that popping up, it says penetrated. Like, they changed the word that they used for like but again, you went a little far.
Yeah, I think it goes too far in many cases.
I don't think that many. I would defend it, but I'd say it's enough. It's enough to warrant this, but also little enough that it would be possible that you could censor those scenes.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I would recommend, actually, if anybody has the time. I've done this with video games before. Like, if you, for some reason, wanted to watch this, but you were watching with somebody, or, like, maybe you've got a fucking, like, heavy porn problem and seeing Asuka's going to set you off, then, like, see if you can find a censored version. Get somebody to make a censored version. You know what I mean? I think it's that. And that would actually solve it because, like, except one. See, there's one scene that I was thinking of that actually has no nudity, but I think is the worst scene in this regard.
Tell me what it is.
Which is the last sex scene with Misato.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
That's
I'm
the
glad
worst
you brought
one.
that one up. That is disgusting.
I just want to say, that is worse than any of the other scenes.
We hear her having weird sex.
And it's just the noise.
Yeah.
That's the situation I think is worse because it's grosser and because it's not important to the show. You could have done it much more tastefully, which they do earlier in the show, where like you're just like looking at the window and you just hear the breathing. You don't hear as the fucking detail they go into in this later one.
Yeah.
And also, it's like the entire scene. Like, to censor it, you would have to take the scene out. Where censoring something else, you would just fucking put a bar or something. Yeah. So it's way worse. I think that scene is like, that scene should be eliminated from the movie.
At least she's old enough, though.
Yeah, I get it, but it's like at the same time they're covering. It's a coming of age story, so I understand that the characters are going to be. You know what I mean?
Eyes Wide Shut.
They're also of age in Japan.
Eyes Wide Shut is maybe the best movie I've seen, and I think all the nudity in it is like warranted in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and
I still don't think I should watch it. And it's
I get that.
It's not it's not even sexy nudity. Like, it's all supposed to be weird sex stuff, but you watch it and you just feel sick. Like, it's like the least sexy thing you'll see. I still don't think I should watch it.
Okay, that's at least logically that's consistent, because I would say a lot of Evangelion, even some of it's fan servicey, but then some of it, even the fan servicey part, is clearly meant to make you feel uncomfortable. And one example early on is when Shinji has to give like the homework because Rei's been like not going to school, so he goes to her apartment and accidentally basically falls onto her and like gropes her, and that's like
his dead mother's 14-year-old clone who's naked.
And the reason that
this is just like my Japanese anime.
Well, but that's actually the point. This is actually the one case where it makes like the most artistic sense, because the reason Hideaki Anno did that is because like that's a common scene, even that long ago in anime like history. It's a common scene, and it would be played off as like a comedy bit or like just like a sexy scene or something. But instead, when it happens in Evangelion, dead silence, uncomfortable, like just a very uncomfortable scene, and then she says, "Get off me," and that's it. There's no laughs. There's no nothing. So like.
Maybe we read that one differently because you have more context with anime.
Oh yeah, that was like a dark parody.
But as I was watching that, I was thinking someone's jacking off to this. This is someone's exact thing they want to have.
Ironically, and I think a lot of people have brought up, there's sort of a theory that this show and movie is like directly addressing like otaku in Japan in a lot of ways.
I think based on interviews.
Yeah, right?
That would be exactly the case.
So, those people watching this know that scene. They've seen it a million times in other anime. So, when it turns into an awkward, weird, unpleasant scene, that's like directly asking them like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I mean? Like, which gets undermined when later they're not as uncomfortable. They're just weird scenes. But the first time it happens, I think that's the first time.
I think so, yes.
The first time it happens, it is Hideaki Anno saying, "You're a fucking weirdo. This in real life, this would be gross and weird."
Maybe this is another difference between us too. I see that as this is even better. For those fucking
I mean, especially reading,
psychos.
like you said, reading the interviews. He's almost a little antagonistic to the otaku audience. So I think that's what that is.
Well, I think we're gonna have to disagree on this one too. I think there's and too much.
I think it is too much. I agree with you on that one.
And
I think we disagreed on the degree.
I think so
to which it's too much.
But
it is too much.
What puts me over the edge is knowing more about Japan.
Okay.
Can I read you something? It's very short.
Sure, yeah. Japan is fucking whack.
That is what has the creepiness in the front of my mind. Because I know about Japan. I've watched RT has really good documentaries about this sort of thing on YouTube.
Okay.
It's fascinating.
The Russians do hate the Japanese.
With good reason.
Oh, they got fucking blown out.
But they're also,
and they never got a chance for revenge.
There's another one.
They almost did.
Yeah, there's another one that does good documentaries, but I know RT has some good ones. This is a quote from the Tokyo Police Superintendent Keiji Goto in 1999, just a few years after this came out.
Right. Yeah.
Here's a quote from him.
It's pretty contemporary.
Child pornography is our national shame.
Okay.
Here's some statistics. According to estimates from Interpol, this is in 1999 still, as much as 80% of the child pornography available on commercial sites worldwide originates in Japan. This is contemporary.
Weird. Wow.
I
say weird because nowadays it's the CIA and the FBI. So that's interesting that it's shifted from Japan to the U.S.
A police study found more than 3,000 websites in 1999.
Yeah.
More than 3,000 websites based in Japan distributing pornography, and 40% of them featuring children.
Wow. Well, it must have been their laws. I bet it was because they had much younger age of consent laws.
Well, here's more that makes me really.
I guess the question is, do you know, was it children according to their laws?
Hold on.
Not that it makes it much better, but you know what I mean.
Hold on.
All right.
So, yeah, that's irrelevant.
Well, it is relevant to because you asked the question, like, why is it so allowed to go on? And it's like, oh, well, it's legal. You know, that's
not good.
Yeah.
Here's some more stuff from, and this is in the back of my mind watching this. I kind of know this stuff anyway. I just wanted some quotes here. So this is from BBC 2018. Until 2014, child pornography was legal to own in Japan. 2014.
Yeah, that's it was illegal to distribute, I believe, right? It was one of those.
The way it's worded, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
That's
I know. Japan,
way too recent.
Japan has the reason they even did that is because Japan wants to seem like a first world country, which they are by all accounts, but like they have like this insecurity about being a first world country. So they institute all these laws to match other countries, but they don't actually care.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't follow through with it.
No, they don't.
Because there's also something called chaku ero. Do you know what this is?
Well, ero means erotic.
Yes, which means erotically clothed. It's a kind of soft porn that doesn't involve nudity, but it can get very, very close and is often overtly sexual. Stacy, this is the interviewer from BBC, asked a Chaku Ero producer, an anonymous one, how young the girls were in his shoots. My youngest was 6 years old, he says. We filmed her in her bathing suit costume while playing with some toys. Her mom was standing behind the camera holding her favorite toy so she would face the camera. This is not that crazy in Japan.
Well, that's a stretch to say it's not that crazy in Japan. I don't know if that's true.
Well, there's also the
I know Japanese. I've never heard of it.
The JK cafes, the KJ cafes or whatever, the schoolgirl cafes where you go there and you pay as the underage girl to hang out with you all day.
Are they underage? I thought they just dressed in high school uniforms.
Very recently, like in the last year or two. you now have to be 18.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, because before it would be like a part-time job that you'd get in high school or something.
Yeah. So when I'm watching Evangelion, I'm not thinking they're making a artistic point here. I'm thinking they're Japanese. That's their culture. Am I racist?
Maybe.
Am I racist for thinking this? But that is their culture. So,
yeah, I can see. I can see. Yeah,
So I'm not. My immediate thought isn't artistic. It's thinking they're trying to titillate me. I don't like that.
Maybe. I definitely see where you're coming from. It makes sense.
There's that fly.
Is it back?
Yeah, I don't know. We can't find that thing.
There it is.
Well, we're recording now. We can't just keep pausing.
Yeah.
Trying to get this fucking
No,
fly.
I definitely see where you're. It makes sense. That's not how I came into it thinking.
Uh-huh.
I came into it, and especially like I knew that he was antagonistic towards the kind of otaku who like watch lolicon stuff and shit like that. So, like at certain parts he's definitely antagonistic, but then in some parts he plays into it. So I didn't really think it was like definitely going to the titillating way, and also like it's tough to. While I get what you're saying, it's tough to like judge the entire culture on that. Because if you did that, then we would have to never watch a Hollywood movie ever again, because we would just have to assume that all Americans, like, you know, most pornography comes from the U.S., like, by far.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. But, like, we don't know.
When
unless you read an interview, I have no idea what Hideaki Anno's view on pornography is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I have some information about Japan. So I get what you're
Right,
saying.
but
What you're saying about Hollywood movies, I agree with. Like when I see shit in most Hollywood movies, I think I am trying to be titillated. I don't like that. It's the same. For me, it's the exact same.
No, but that's not what I'm saying.
And that doesn't mean I write off all of everything Japanese. You know, that just means that when I see that coming from a Japanese studio, I think I would naturally assume that's the point of it.
Well, I'd say it's more like, so somebody overseas hears us talking about this, like just experiences anything an American puts out and says, "Oh, I know Americans. They want to kill people in the Middle East and they love pornography." And it's like, actually, maybe the majority of Americans don't feel that way, but we're associated with that. It's like, I doubt, I don't know the statistics, I doubt the majority of Japanese people are watching child pornography. You know what I mean? So I'd say there's a pretty good chance that Hideaki Anno does not support.
That's a stretch.
It is not a stretch.
Fan service. They called it fan service in the show.
They only called the fan service when it was Masato, and that's a fact because Masato's the only one who did the ending things. So it was always, I'm gonna have fan service. Masato saying it.
Okay.
So don't get it twisted.
But I know fan service when I see it.
I mean, I'm not gonna like.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree.
No. It's like I'm not gonna disagree that like they go too far in some means, but I think now you're making just too many assumptions.
All of a sudden I'm the racist one between us.
I think you're just making too many assumptions about like you could easily do this with any American movie that has.
And
nudity.
I do. Thank you very much.
We've covered Have we covered any American movies that have nudity?
No.
Well,
I tend to not like to watch those.
Yeah, fair. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying it's a bit of a stretch. There's a lot of assumptions going on there. Though I admit it did go too far in some parts. But I don't think it went too far because Hideaki Anno was a fucking child molester or something, or likes watching child porn. I think it went too far in some parts. Because
I'm calling you out, Hideaki Anno.
I think it went too far in some parts because two reasons.
We've been on this one for too long.
One, it'll sell more copies. One, it'll sell more copies, and two, he has a lower standard.
Maybe. Kind of Let's take a break.
All right. Yeah, I'm ready to take a break.
All right. Why don't you explain what the break portion of our show is?
Actually, really quick. There's one thing we should say for sure about the whole long section we just did.
Okay.
If you have a pornography problem, don't watch the show.
Oh, yes. Yeah, correct.
The show shows nudity. If you have a problem with that, there are sexual scenes and there's nudity. The two do not overlap. But Either one of which, if you have like a really bad pornography problem, you probably shouldn't watch. So,
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Now we're taking this fucking chair, dude. Now we're taking a break where we're going to read the emails that were sent in since the last show.
First and foremost, we need to thank our executive producer.
Okay, I was gonna do it in a different order, but that's fine.
We thank the producers first.
Okay.
This man sent us $50. CONFOX again. Well, he was actually associate executive producer last time.
Yeah, now he's been bumped up.
Now he actually donated enough to get to executive producer. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Did you listen to the English version of that?
No, this is my first time. I think when we watched it the first time, we switched to the English just to hear congratulations.
It's so bad.
Yeah, in Japanese it's like omedetou, and it's like that doesn't sound funny.
Yeah, congratulations. Everyone's doing like it's like they got two voice actors.
the fucking the penguin doing it.
But yeah, thank you, CONFOX. Clearly, we got some squeaky shit, so we need some funds.
I need chair money.
Yeah, we need some chair money here. But everything you donate is very important. We operate on the value for value. Tell us about the value for value model.
Basically, as we've said before, we don't take money from advertisers because they support child pornography. As we just got done talking about. That's why. You think Hideaki Anno likes child pornography? No. It's the advertisers trying to sell merchandise. So
that's a good point there, actually.
I know, it's probably true, especially considering the first scene. I bet he made that first uncomfortable scene, and he didn't do the rest of them.
Interesting.
Pure conjecture.
Maybe.
Pure conjecture. But that's why we don't take advertiser money. Any show that takes advertiser money, pedophiles.
We're not those guys.
And that's not us.
I've accepted myself as who I am, which is not a pedophile.
Which is the only non-pedophile podcast.
I will assert that.
TrueAnon also claims that, though, actually.
They claim that.
But that main guy's Jewish, though.
Wait. Cut that out. I didn't. No. Cool with the anti-Semitism.
It was a joke. It was a joke, all right? I love TrueAnon. But even though they're fucking commies, they are commies.
So now, whatever value you get from listening to this, geez.
Oh yeah,
who knows? I can't put a number on the show for you.
Since we don't take advertisers, we rely on people sending us money. Like whatever you think the show is worth, that's what we're asking you to pay us.
The show is not free.
I mean, yeah, it's not free morally. You know what I mean? You have sort of a moral obligation to give what you think it's worth.
Yeah.
So give what you think it's worth.
Maybe it's worth $5. Maybe it's worth $500. Maybe it's worth $5 every month. You know?
Yeah. And
maybe it's worth $2 every month. I don't know. You tell me.
And from now on, we're doing the model of if you send in past a certain amount, cumulative. You know, you keep track of it, please.
You're not introducing this with the proper fanfare.
Woo!
Big news here. We now have a patrician program.
Yes, if you reach the 5, we needed to figure out some way to celebrate our particularly generous producers who, like CONFOX, who has already donated like maybe $100 already, or more. Who we need to recognize them in some way. So if you reach the $500 mark, you will officially be a patrician of the show.
Yes. And you can tell everybody, we will now give you the title of Patrician CONFOX.
Yeah, and you'll be able to, not yet.
Not yet. You're not Patrician yet.
But you will have that title. You can brag to people. You can rightfully say that you're better than them.
You can, because if anyone says, like, you're not Patrician, what are you talking about? Say, like, ask these guys.
Yeah.
Here's an email. Email them.
Yeah.
Say,
who said you're Patrician? These guys. They're the only ones who do it.
We are the only ones who do it.
Who does
we're the ones who get to decide if you're a patrician or not.
Roman Empire doesn't exist anymore. We're starting it right now.
That's true. So Michael was saying, that's to celebrate the big donors. It's also to celebrate the small donors.
Oh yeah, over time you donate fucking $2 a month for 25 months. You know.
Is that how that works out? If you donate $5,
$20 a month. Wow, that was bad math.
If you donate $5 for every show that we do, then
It adds up.
It will add up, and we have no plans on stopping doing this. We're not fighting yet in this episode. I don't think we're gonna fight.
We're getting close.
I think.
Wait until I get to my points, dude.
Oh, jeez. I think. Yeah.
You're gonna love them.
Yeah. If I don't fight with him, then the show's not gonna stop. Just do $5 for the next 100 shows, and you'll be a patrician.
Right.
And 500 sounds like a big number. We already have a guy who's 20% of the way there.
Yeah.
We already have a guy who's 10% of the way there.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to do. You do it over time. And you'll be an official patrician, and we'll probably come up with titles. If you want to keep giving, we'll get titles after that. You could be a Grand Wizard. Not that was a joke. You could be a.
Yeah, I'm a Grand Wizard of the Will It Send Me to Hell podcast. No big deal.
Yeah, you could do that.
You could put it. It's your official title. You could put it in. It's just as legitimate
cards,
as any government.
Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, give us a hand. And of course, like we mentioned at the start of the show, you will have standing with us. Matthew, who is, I think I called him the associate executive producer earlier. He was the executive on the last show.
Yes.
He said you should do Evangelion, and boom, look at where we are.
Yeah, like if somebody who's supporting, I mean, that's just basic, right? You do what the audience wants, but that's bullshit. You do what the paying audience wants.
Yeah, because he's a producer. He now has a stake in the show. He wants the show to do well. He puts it on his resume. He showed me his resume.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
He has
on
executive producer of the Will It Send Me to Hell podcast, episode 5.
And I believe it got him a job at a warehouse.
I believe it did. So if people are putting this on their resumes, they have standing in the show. Like, isn't that racist show? We're not gonna be racist if you donate to us.
What? I can't promise that. What are you talking about?
Hold on. If people are putting this on their resume, we can't be known as the racist show. No one's going to donate.
I mean, I'm not racist, but I'm still going to make jokes, dude.
So don't be racist.
Well, maybe if somebody wants to think of us as the racist show, I'm not going to stop them.
Let's read our emails. We got some.
Will it send me to hell @gmail.com is where you can send in emails about either the show that we're talking about, the show, movie, game that we're talking about that week, or just general sort of questions, ideas.
Yeah, you can send us anything. Now, the value for value system will also include art. Like, if you're watching on YouTube right now, if you're listening on YouTube, you'll see some fan art that was sent to us for this. That's excellent. Maybe you don't have money. Maybe you're good at art. Send us that. I would love some jingles for the show. Send us that. Give me anything.
That'd be good, dude.
Value for value. Tell your friends about the show. Share it on your Discord server.
Yeah, there are other ways if you don't have money to help the show.
Yeah, there's tons of ways. Just do whatever you can. And then if you're broke as shit, if you can introduce this show to someone who's not, that's value.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, we also read emails now. At a certain point, we're going to be getting a lot of emails. We're getting more and more.
Yeah, so there will be some point where we get too many emails and we can't read all of them. So we'll kind of only read the ones that either are very interesting or they gave us money to read them.
Yeah.
But for now, I think we can read basically all of them if you'd like to start, Dalton.
Yeah, this one's like a wall of text.
Who's it from? Unless they're anonymous?
It's not anonymous, but I'm not...
First name, you could say?
Too long.
Too long?
I read it. I read it before, and it doesn't say that much.
What is it about? What is he talking
about? It's about Evangelion.
What does he say?
All right, I'll read you the email.
Yeah, I just want to know.
This is from Jammy Boy. It's from Jammy Boy.
Okay, what is it?
From a repeat emailer, Jammy Boy, who is loving it so far, even though you guys are so hard on us sweet Protestant boys.
Okay, well, he loves the show. I wanted to hear that.
I don't know. He's Protestant. He's not allowed.
I like that he likes the show. That's good.
No, that's good. He's a good guy. I just finished rewatching the whole thing, Evangelion, and I didn't realize how good the show really is.
Yeah, this is why you didn't want to fucking read it. I knew it.
I just saw it as fun, but now I see the show's value. I never said the show's not good.
He said value.
I said it will send you to hell. The whole Misato relationship with Kaji is just so interesting, and even just her own struggle throughout the whole thing. This guy's got a punctuation issue. It feels like she is actually a main character more so than Rei and Asuka, since they are just a reflection of Shinji in some way. In the same way with Kaworu, since he is the mirror of... You want to try reading this?
Yeah, sure. I agree with him, by the way, to some extent. I think Misato is definitely a major character.
No, completely.
Like
completely,
maybe the second biggest character.
Another thing I found creepy about the show is Kaji. It seems to me he's more of a competent male character, and he's a rapist. I didn't like that.
When does he rape?
He pretty much sexually assaults Misato and also that other woman working there.
Oh, well, that's just because he's the James Bond character.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And you love that.
I don't like that about James Bond.
But that is James Bond.
I have not watched a James Bond movie since my son was born.
That is James Bond stuff, though, for real. Like that's what he's based off of, 100%.
Yeah, but I don't like that.
Okay, all right. The very thing Shinji deals with is what Misato deals with. Rewatching this, I realized it's a really beautiful story about the importance of choice, and that you need to be willing to live in reality and actually go outside, even if you can get hurt. I really hope you guys felt the same, since I really loved it. I felt the same. I love this show. Also, I hope you guys spend time talking about Misato and all this, and her thing with Kaji, and just her whole uncovering of the Instrumentality project, since I forgot that even happened originally.
Well, we're not going to talk about it.
And I hope you cover... I will. I think. I hope you cover everything with Kawaru and what he... I don't know how you fucking say his name. It's spelled differently every time I see it. And what he means to Shinji and the meaning of the ending, since I feel like I didn't get it until now. Okay.
He's gay, right? That's the thing.
The new kings of podcasting. You were going to skip that?
I actually didn't see that one. Thank you.
Thank you for calling us the new kings of podcasting.
I'll be sure to
I will get into Kaoru and a little bit, and Misato will definitely come up in the things I have to say. So yeah, but I agree with you. This show is very good, and I think it's got some positive messages in here.
All right, we got another email from Ed. Hi, Dalton and Michael. I was wondering if either of you have seen Texnalize?
Oh, Texnalize by the guy who made Serial Experiments Lain.
Yeah, since it was the same writer as Lain.
Haven't seen it. I hear it's like a masterpiece. Yeah. I hear it's super depressing. You've seen Serial Experiments Lain, right?
No.
Oh, you gotta watch it. It's better than Evangelion.
Interesting. He says, P.S. I intend to send you both funds.
And
for
there's
the
no
podcast
sexual stuff in it at all.
Would you stop fucking interrupting, Ed?
Sorry.
You're not interrupting me. You're interrupting a fucking producer.
I'm sorry. I'm excited about the show he was mentioning. I do want to watch that.
We got one from Matthew.
Okay.
I don't have anything to say about the original Evangelion.
Okay.
I just didn't want to miss an email.
Thanks, Matthew.
Ain't it weird how Shinji busts a nut in the hospital? Yes.
Yeah.
He's so fucked up.
Yeah.
This kid would be a school shooter if he didn't pilot an EVA, I swear.
The thing is, though, him busting a nut in the hospital, that's another truth.
Don't elaborate. Ed sends us another one. Hi, sorry for sending in a second question, but I meant to send this one in the first as... Okay.
Fine.
That's okay, buddy. I was wondering what your guys' religious history was like if you were both Catholic from the start, converted, or possibly left and started believing again. I've been feeling lost for a while, but Yeoman's streams really cheered me up and inspired myself to start thinking again.
Yes!
I don't know what direction to go. Thank you guys for dealing with me. That is why I edit for you, Michael.
That's why I stream,
stuff like
dude.
that. Because you're good at streaming and people send in
that's
shit
why
like
I go on. That's why I play Metal Gear Solid 2 and go on 2-hour rants about vaccines, dude.
There's
for the morals.
I remember one guy.
I'm not joking.
One guy put in your chat like, "Hey, I'm thinking about going to confession again. Thank you, Yeoman." And it's like, bro.
Yeah. I remember.
That's why I manage the stream archive. So people can see that.
I think it was the Spaniard, who's a regular on the streams, who said something like, "I was gonna go clubbing with like these and like maybe do something with these girls, but then I remembered the stream last night and I didn't."
Nice.
It's like,
that's good.
Yes.
That's good. So Michael is a convert. And,
oh yeah, to answer your question, yeah. I the basic history. If you want, are you okay with me explaining this?
I'll explain it.
Okay, go for it.
So Michael was always as long. We've been friends for 10 years, by the way.
Yeah. And we've known each other for longer.
Yeah. So Michael's always been like kind of a, I don't know, like a loser kind of guy.
Wow, dude.
Like a Shinji-esque man.
I feel like I should have explained this.
Well, no, because he's always been like the smartest guy I know. But yeah, you were a real like ass, and you know what I mean.
Well, I was like super obese, not super. I was like 280 pounds, like freshman year.
Yeah.
I was pretty fat, And I think by definition obese, but not morbidly obese.
Yeah, but he was always like kind of like
a weird guy and always hung around with the worst crowd.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And always contrarian about fucking everything. And now it's just most things.
Now it used to be I would just disagree with literally everything because I had no opinion of my own. I didn't believe in anything.
But I guess spiritually, like by all like measures, you were basically an atheist.
Oh yeah, I would make fun of people for being religious.
You would?
Now that was mostly Mormons I made fun of, and I still do that. But yeah.
And then toward the end of high school, Michael was like, "Hey, what if God's real?" And then I was raised Catholic, and not really. I was not really at all. Actually,
right.
I was baptized at 6 years old because my dad wasn't around anymore, and then my mom could get me baptized, but she never really believed it anyway. I don't know why I was baptized. And I didn't understand anything about the faith. And I thought the faith was fake and gay, which now I realize it's neither. Oh, my notebook just fell on my head.
That was your mom being mad at you. Your mom's not dead, though.
So yeah, then I was telling Michael, like, God, really? And then, like, Michael made some points, and I thought, I really hope you're not right, because I got to make some changes. And long story short, Mike was a convert out of fucking nowhere. That's literally like the grace of God, like nothing else. There was nothing Catholic in your life at all.
No, I have no Catholics in my family except like distant relations that I never see.
Yeah, so yeah, he's a complete convert. I'm a textbook revert, I guess.
Yeah. And after I still remember when it was me, you, and our friend Alex, and
friend of the show.
Actually, yeah, he said he's been listening and he likes it. Hey, Alex. If he watches this, he might wait to watch Evangelion, which defeats the purpose of the show, but also not. Whatever. I'm going fucking. But I remember we were talking, and I said like, hey, I've been like looking into it, and I think Catholicism is true. And either you or Alex said, we're both Catholic, right? And I was like, no, which shows how seriously everyone was taking their faith.
Jamie sent another one, but it looked like it was about the rebuilds.
Oh, wait, I want to say to that guy, though. Read Chesterton. That was a big part of my conversion.
Oh, yes, please read
Orthodoxy by Chesterton.
Read C.S. Lewis' Mere Christianity, and then read Orthodoxy.
Yeah, that's a good order.
Read those two in that order, and I think you'll be like, has anyone ever like compared something like this to like The Matrix?
Never.
It'll be like that.
Yeah.
We got one from a German guy who said, I hope you don't read names out loud. So I just won't.
We won't then.
I won't. But he's German.
Okay.
So maybe someone can track him down. I'm sorry for my bad English since it's not my first language. What is your opinion on Evangelion's themes, music, and Shinji himself? Okay.
We're going into all of that. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the guy I think who said he hadn't listened to the podcast before.
Okay.
So...
important question. What's your opinion on the Evangelion main girls, Asuka, Rei, Misato? Who's your favorite? Best girl is a subjective question.
But you can answer it.
I would go with Misato.
Okay. Let me give my opinion here. We can run through them. Ritsuko, first of all, some people say that. That's the contrarian answer now. Misato used to be the contrarian answer. Ritsuko is now the contrarian answer.
She's the science bitch.
She's the science bitch. And she sleeps with Gendo just like her mom did, because she's like insecure and like basically she sucks. Okay,
she does suck. I don't like her. She sucks. She's a bitch.
She's a bitch
not
too.
Nice.
She is a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Misato's a pedophile. Rei is hardly
a pedophile.
Rei is hardly a character at all.
Yeah.
And Asuka's the best girl by default then.
I would say Misato, Ritsuko was never on my radar. I didn't even consider her.
Some people, she's the contrarian answer now, so.
I would, See, for me...
She's not enough of a character.
The other ones are 14 years old, so is Misato.
Well, what are you talking... That's not what best girl means, though. It's not like, who would I marry or something. It's like, who's the best girl? Like, who is the best? Who's the best character?
I still like Misato.
Okay, well, she's a pedophile.
She's the most... She's not a pedophile.
Yes, she is.
She says she's manipulative.
She says she's going to sleep with Shinji.
Yeah.
She sends the very beginning of the show. She sends Shinji a postcard.
Hold on. Let's
that says
stop.
"Look here" with a picture at her tits.
Let's stop this one. I can't defend the pedophile thing. I don't like that. I'm not even gonna attempt to.
Because she definitely.
I would say I don't know if I think that was a shit move. Saying I will sleep with you, 14-year-old boy. I don't like that.
And then kissing on him on the mouth, extended.
Yeah, I wish she didn't do that, Michael.
Yeah. And there's a reason for it.
There is a reason for it.
The reason is because she's got she's messed up, and her only way she knows how to react to anything is using sex to manipulate people. That's no excuse to do that to a child, or actually at all, even. But yeah. So I think Asuka's definitely the best character. Asuka's also got that fighting spirit. Asuka, I feel like, you ever thought about the fact? So the company that made this is Gainax, the production company. Gainax.
Oh, sorry.
And they later
you said
went
Gainax the first time. I think it was a Freudian slip because you're gay.
They went on later to make Gurren Lagann.
Oh, I don't like Gurren Lagann either.
You're fucking crazy.
It's so boring.
You're crazy.
It's so boring.
The thing is,
I'm literally falling asleep watching it.
Evangelion is a controversial show. Everyone likes.
Well, I don't.
Gurren Lagann. Oh,
I think it's boring.
Gurren Lagann is like if Asuka was like.
My wife doesn't like it either.
She used to like it. What are you talking about?
She watched it again and doesn't like it.
Wow. Okay.
I ruined anime.
I thought she liked it. You do.
She liked anime. She liked Evangelion. She liked Evangelion the first time, and then she watched it and she says, "I hate Evangelion." I just ruined anime for her.
But that show is it's like a response to Evangelion, where what if everybody didn't be such a whiny bitch and they just acted like Asuka?
That is what that show is.
Yeah.
Okay, so now for my personal, same German
So that's
guy.
why Asuka's the best.
Now for my personal stuff, I somehow believe in God, but sometimes not. I was never baptized and never had a real link to religion, but I think there are far too many coincidences in the world that I believe, don't be using that word too much if you're German, that I believe there must be something
it's against the law
that I
in some
should
ways.
do. Should I go to a church and talk to a priest? Again, I apologize for my bad written English. Your English is pretty good, except for one word that I'm going to show Michael, which is baptized. Look at that one.
Where?
Right there in the middle.
Baptized. Yeah.
Baptized.
Yeah, it's a P, not a B for the second.
Yeah, but
otherwise it's good English.
That tickles me.
Baptized.
I was baptized.
Because this is a baby.
That's really cool, man. That's really cool that you're thinking about stuff. And
yes, I would go talk to a priest, but you got to be careful. Germany's like the worst country to find good priests in.
I gotta tell you, do not be discouraged. Germany, throughout all time, you have been the center of heresy.
Well, earlier on, no, they were always kind of heretics, but there have been good Catholics from Germany.
No,
sure.
totally.
Yeah.
But so I don't know. Maybe see if
you can find a Latin Mass, just because Latin Mass, they tend to take it more seriously. Not that you couldn't find a bad priest, and I wouldn't go for SSPX or something like that, but I don't know if the FSSP, I know for instance, the Institute of Christ the King is in France. I know the FSSP is in the UK. I don't know if either of those are in Germany.
These are orders of priests.
They're orders of priests that are very good.
We have to say.
Yeah.
Because this guy's not Catholic. He doesn't know.
Oh, right. Yeah. So I would look up FSSP, find out if they're in Germany. I would look up ICKSP, find out if they're in Germany. If either of them are, I would go there. If not, I'd try and find a Latin Mass. You can look online, Latin Masses Germany. I'm sure you'll find something. And then if not that, you'll just have to go to a priest,
DM me,
talk to him, and see what he says, compare it to
he's got nothing to compare it to. Look,
yeah,
you should read Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis, and then read Orthodoxy by G.K. Chesterton.
Yeah, you should. And then what was I was also gonna say. Shit, I don't remember. Keep going.
But yeah, that's great. But for you, especially in Germany, just don't be discouraged. People will say how could Catholicism be true with all these bad priests and clergy? Well, Catholicism says people are bad, so
also
it all checks.
I think it's a Chesterton quote about how the mismanagement and bad priests inside of the church.
Belloc, I believe.
Oh, is it? Proves that the church must be divinely guided, because no other organization could have lasted this long being this badly led.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, it reminds me of a quote I've heard before with people like converting to Catholicism, which is like, yeah, come on in. The water is not fine. Yeah, like this is a really bad time to convert. So, but like, you know, you get to go to heaven. So come on in.
Yeah, it's worth it, and yeah, it should inspire you too. Like, I'm gonna make this better. You know.
Oh yeah, the world is shit because people are bad. So be better, and that's a start.
That's our last email.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for joining us for the for the email portion of the show.
I thought you were just gonna end the show. I don't want to hear what fucking Michael has to say about this shit.
All right, start. Tell me your thing. And so I think what you're gonna say is mostly gonna be right.
Ooh.
I'm just gonna. I think you're gonna. Okay, here's your task. I think I know the general theme that you think the show has, and I think you're right that that's what the theme is.
Okay.
I don't care.
Okay. I've got a number of themes, so I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
Okay. Well, I think the go connect with people.
That's the most basic theme,
Yeah.
I think. That's the one where they do like Kojima style. Here's what the theme is.
Yeah. That is a very limp dick theme to me.
Okay. Well, let me get into it.
Okay.
Let me get into it.
Get into it.
First,
I'm giving you a challenge because I want to like Evangelion really bad. So make me like it.
Okay, yeah. So I think at least I want to get people to understand, people like you, why other people like Evangelion. Because you might understand, but a lot of people they don't even get it. Like, this show sucks.
They like it because of the 14-year-old.
That is not why anyone likes it. But okay, so one minor point first, and this is he was asking about Kaworu earlier. There's a lot of psychological aspects of this show. It's clearly based on Freudian psychology. They make specific references to Freudian ideas. One of my favorite little bits of psychology, though, before I get into anything else, I just want to throw this out there, that we have the main character Shinji has been abandoned by all his friends. All of his friends are gone at this part of the story. He has.
Oh, is this the end? Are we at the end here?
It's like episode 24.
Okay.
He has none of his friends around. He's a guy who's in the past been abandoned by his father, abandoned by his mother, and there is a homosexual character who takes advantage of his loneliness. That's truth right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Just wanted to point that out.
Yeah.
Just want to point out that is how people get lured.
Keep talking.
That is how people get lured into homosexual situations, especially a fatherless That is truthful psychology. I just want to point out, especially since that guy said, "Are you going to cover Kaworu?" Basically, that's most of what I have to say about him. Honestly, it's just sad. It's a sad thing to watch Shinji be so lonely that he is willing to enter into a homosexual relationship immediately and falls in love with the guy within a day, just because nobody else has ever shown any amount of care for him. At least directly. It's sad, you know. It makes me sympathetic for him, and it's a good thing he didn't fucking sleep with the dude. But you get what I'm saying.
No, yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I think most of the themes I'm going to go into, the number one thing that you have to keep in mind, and this has been mentioned in interviews by Hideaki Anno, is that when Hideaki Anno made this show, he was extremely depressed, suicidally depressed.
This was right before he made the show.
Right before, and I think maybe during production, but at least very close to the production of the show. He also has said in interviews, there's actually an interview that I read where somebody asked him, he actually said, people ask me, is Shinji a younger version of yourself, a version of yourself from the past? And he said, no, Shinji is my current self. He's I act like Shinji now. Mm-hmm. So that's something you got to keep in mind. Creator of the show, horribly depressed, and is Shinji. Shinji is just, I would argue most of the characters are actually just Hideaki Anno, but Shinji is definitely just Anno. So, beyond that, I would say the show you can divide into the morality and the psychological aspects. And psychologically, there's the theme of Anno, but also Shinji, trying to come to terms with interactions with other people and what his purpose in life is. So first, the the interaction with other people is definitely the most direct one, which is when they mention by name the idea of the hedgehog's dilemma, which is the idea. It's the name of like episode 7 or something. I don't know, but it's the idea that you can't get close to someone else because you're afraid that you'll hurt them, just like a hedgehog. I actually thought about how do hedgehogs reproduce?
They go really fast.
Okay. But so like there's that idea, and that idea is like explored in every variation throughout the show of like not wanting to get close to people because you'll hurt them, not wanting to get close to people because they'll hurt you, not getting close to people because you've already been hurt. Like every variation of that is explored, and every character has some way that plays into their psyche. And then they also go further into like explicitly Freudian psychology. There's another episode that's called it's oral phase or oral stage. I don't know what the exact term is, but it's a Freudian idea. And to be clear, Freud is a fucking crazy person. He's a hack. But like even crazy people have like the truth. It's like how the devil can't make something. They have to the devil
he only corrupts what
he can only corrupt what is good, and the best way to corrupt something that's good is to leave part of it still good, because then it's still appealing. Just like how like Islam is obviously an evil religion, but it has like discipline and it has like, you know what I mean? Like there are good parts of it. They banned abortion in Afghanistan just now. You know what I mean? That's based, but it's still evil, right? Yeah. So in the same way, Freud, who I would not be surprised if was demonically influenced in some way, his ideas have truth in them. It's just that just distracts you from the fact that the rest isn't true. But so the idea of the oral phase is that I'm not a Freudian expert, but the idea of the oral phase, especially how it's used in Evangelion, is it's an early stage of development. It's called the oral phase because he defines it as the phase of human development when you derive most of your pleasure from the mouth. The idea being, I guess, breastfeeding. So it's the earliest stage of development, from what I understand, and it's the stage at which you're completely dependent because you're dependent on your mother. And if something happens early in your development to stop the natural development into later stages, you will be stuck in that early phase where you're completely dependent on other people. And the funny thing is, people say that like this show is an exploration of Freudian ideas. It's really an exploration of that one Freudian idea, because every single character in the show basically has that problem. Like no other Freudian psychology, just that problem. Like Shinji is dependent on his father's opinion of him, on other people's opinion of him, on people praising him. Asuka wants attention, and like the reason Shinji is because he was abandoned by his father, his mother died. Asuka, her mother killed herself, and her father abandoned her, and so she just wants attention from everyone. So she's even willing to be like sexually like loose if it's like with Kaji or someone, you know, just to get attention. She kisses Shinji basically probably just for attention. Misato, father died. Don't know about the mother, but father died. I don't remember the mother. But also, she's dependent on other people.
Oh yeah, okay. Move it along.
No. I'm just giving. It's every character is what I'm saying. Like basically every main character.
Okay.
Except maybe Rei, 'cause she's like not a character. But so a lot of the show is showing how that affects people's lives and how it makes them miserable, having to be dependent on someone else for your happiness, and also how to get past that. And Shinji eventually comes to the conclusion, because they keep asking him, why do you pilot the Evangelion? And it's always like, because I save people, because it makes my dad proud, because they praise me for it. His self-worth is always from an external source. And so the end of the show is supposed to show that he has his own self-worth. He realizes that as a human being, you have a basic intrinsic worth, and you don't need to be like praised to have worth. Like you don't have to have your father saying you did a good job, which is like what he lived for before. And part of also tying into this, it's hard because there's like so many different layers that tie in weird ways, but there's also, he's asking like, is life worth living? Is it like, why do you pilot an Evangelion? Like I said, which is Hideaki Anno asking himself, why do I make anime? Why do I do my work? And because he's saying like do you do it for other people? Do you do it for praise? You do it for the approval of others.
Okay.
And this is during his depression. And he actually I'm trying to figure out how to there's a line in Evangelion where it says Shinji is trying to run away from his problems, and he's saying that he pilots the Evangelion because of other people, and they say really, that's fucking why you do it. His alter ego self is saying that.
Yeah.
And he says finding something that you like and doing nothing but that. What's wrong with that? And that's what Hideaki Anno was asking himself. What's the problem with me just making anime all day, not having relationships with other people, not doing anything else, just what I enjoy? And as the show progresses, it's shown that that is self-destructive. You're not cutting yourself off from other people because you have some better thing to do. You're cutting yourself off from people just because you hate yourself, and you're just lying to yourself about it, making it seem I just enjoy this. This is just what I like doing. It's no, you despise yourself and you hate other people. So then a big part of all of this comes down to the question of, are relationships, keeping in mind that you hurt each other by getting close to anybody, are those relationships worth having?
I don't think that's true.
Okay, okay. So the show makes the premise that because Kaji says this, for instance, that you can, and feel free to interrupt with any thoughts anytime. I don't need to just have a rant, But Kaji says at one point, you can't fully understand another person. Maybe you can't even fully understand yourself. And that's one of the fundamental reasons why we will always hurt each other, is because there's always going to be misunderstandings. There's always going to be a separation between people. As long as we are individuals, we will not be able to fully understand each other, and that's going to cause suffering. And I think that's true. Right? We live in a world of suffering.
C.S. Lewis says the exact same thing in The Problem of Pain.
That makes sense. So I think the show actually has some stuff to say about The Problem of Pain, actually. But
stop whispering into the mic.
Sorry.
I gotta adjust the volume.
Sorry. But so the question is, are these relationships worth having even though they're painful? And at first, Shinji seems to think the answer is no. He runs away from any relationship. He doesn't want to get close to anybody. When Misato tries to comfort him and he is grossed out, which also has the implication that she may have been trying to sleep with him there. I don't know if you caught that. It was a very extreme reaction from Shinji, and considering other things that happen in the show, it's very oh, that's gross.
Yeah. Okay, keep going.
Okay, so
I'm on the same page with you so far.
Gotcha.
I get it. I got it. But my issue still remains that I said at the beginning. I somewhat disagree with the premise, which I guess I'm adding now into this, but I still don't care.
Okay, so then the other element to this is what the villains, the various factions, are trying to accomplish. Is they are trying to get rid of suffering between different people by making everyone into one being. And they actually basically everyone's going to die, but they say it's not death, it's return to what was. And because we're all actually one.
Yeah. Well, also they said it's the next stage of human evolution.
Right. So there's actually it's an interesting mix. Hideaki Anno has, I think it's actually very well done. He mixes the ideas in the villains. He mixes the ideas of transhumanism, advancing to a next stage of human evolution that's not natural, that we do ourselves.
Which is trans.
He mixes transhumanism and Eastern religions, Buddhism or Hinduism, with the idea of the Maya, that we're all actually... Because if you don't know, this is important. Eastern religions have this idea, especially Hinduism and Buddhism. They have this idea that everyone is actually one being. We're all actually just one... In Hinduism, all one dream. That's called the Maya. By the way, a name of one of the characters in the show. But one of the minor characters.
Which character?
Those three minor characters, the one with the glasses, the one who plays the guitar, and then the girl.
Okay.
The girl is named Maya.
Oh, I had no idea.
Oh, well.
It's not really important. Doesn't really come up.
It's just... It does. She's the one who hugs Ritsuko at the end, the fake Ritsuko.
I don't care.
Okay, whatever. But so there's this idea in Eastern religions of that. And to reach nirvana in these Eastern religions is to die, is to like cease, not just to die, but to cease to exist as an individual.
And then become one with...
And to become one with everything.
Yeah.
And Hideaki Anno, by portraying the villains as having that as their goal, this entire show is not just about Shinji grappling with whether or not relationships are worth having. He's also going against the seeming solution to that of combining with other people, like becoming, like getting rid of all of the...
Yeah, basically ending everybody because that would be better.
Yeah, or believing in some stupid fucking Eastern religion.
Okay, all right.
Also, that's clearly, they use the same terms when they talk about that, to talk about sex, to show that having sex as an escape from your problems, to escape into another person, is the same sort of death cult mentality that Buddhism and Hinduism is. Uh-huh. And he also mixes that with like modern Luciferianism, which ties into the transhumanist thing. So it's interesting that he managed just to refute Buddhism, Hinduism, transhumanism, and Luciferianism, all with Shinji. Shinji, who tries to do that. Like, he, during the movie and during episode 25, 26, like, literally kills everyone in the world, makes them all into one being, because that way he won't have to live in a world of suffering. And this is an interesting thing to show that, like, because I get the idea...
Try again, start over.
So I get the idea sometimes when I bring up something like this that people think I'm just full of shit, like I'm pulling it out of nowhere. So I like to give like concrete examples. This one maybe is a bit of a stretch, but it also isn't.
My wife is going to be pissed listening to this.
Ooh, okay. So there's that German text I mentioned earlier that Ray is reading.
Yeah.
The other part of it is a quote from the book Simplicius Simplicicus, which, believe it or not, Alex has read, so he let me know what it was about. And it's a story about a guy who was raised by a hermit, then gets conscripted, forced into warfare, during which he interacts with a bunch of other people, comes to the conclusion that being around other people is shit, and goes to go be a hermit himself. That is Evangelion, except he, at the end, chooses not to be a hermit. So in a weird way, Evangelion is a response to Simplicius Simplicicus.
Okay.
But so that just shows that what I'm talking about is not like, clearly that was why he included a weird, obscure quote like that, because he's directly going against that idea.
Okay. I
thought it was interesting too.
Yeah, I don't think that's irrelevant.
Okay. Thank you. But so I think that's the most important part. And like I'm saying, it's hard to, all of these themes, I think, come together at the end. But since they've been like disparately spread throughout the show, it is hard to show them all come together without just giving away the final like conclusion.
Yeah.
But so the show is showing Shinji not fall for this trap, and also not fall for this trap of like sexual degeneracy, and also not fall for the trap like his father of like violently imposing your will on the world. You know, he's just a sneaky son of a bitch who is trying to do the exact same thing as everybody else, but for his own reasons, so he's against them. You know what I mean?
Watching it with Sarah, we were like, what is the difference between nerve and seal? They want the fucking same thing.
I can explain it real quick.
No.
Gendo wants to become immortal. That's it. Well, he wants his wife
like
to.
Yui.
They both do. Yeah, Yui died trying to become immortal, it seems.
Yeah.
But, and he wants his wife back. Which is why he wants to meld with everybody.
Correct. But Seal wants to do that too.
Yeah, it is kind of stupid in a little way.
It's like, you guys want the same thing. Maybe get together and work something out.
Which they were doing?
I don't know. But
He just wants to be in charge of it.
Let's just agree that's a weakness in the writing.
Oh, yeah, I think so. I don't think it's super important, but it is a weakness to the writing.
Yeah, okay.
But so Shinji is approaching all these different ways, like seeming solutions to this problem that are ultimately just avoiding the ultimate problem that he hates himself. Okay. And none of the other characters are able to do that. And in various parts of the show, we see that Shinji is actually like the only moral character in this show. When he is commanded to kill a man in cold blood out of maybe self-defense, maybe not, nobody else bats an eye. Everybody else is like, you have to kill him because, like, you're going to die otherwise.
I thought that scene was very poorly done.
I think it was really well done. I thought like I had a big emotional response even the first time I saw it, where it's like this is really like a good scene.
Well, because it looked like you're right. What the writing and everything is good, but how it looks is like it looks like Shinji could have easily just not killed him. And he did live, by the way.
He did live, but there was no reason to believe that he would, especially after the actual, like, after his robot gets taken over. It definitely looks like, oh, he's not gonna make it. But you can see, I mean, like, these are giant robots, not actually, but like they're dangerous. You wouldn't want to like fight your best friend in one if you could avoid it.
I would love to fight you in a giant robot.
That'd be cool, dude. Yeah. But so he's the only moral character in this show. I unless you have an example, I don't think anyone else actually has like a moral question that they solve well.
Oh, I see what you mean by moral.
No one else has a morality, really. He has a code of honor.
Yeah, maybe Fujiwara or Fujiwara might. That one
the
guy?
Vice guy.
Yeah, I think he might have a little bit.
He just follows Gendo though, and Gendo's evil.
I think he had it in one episode. Okay, yeah,
he follows Gendo,
yes,
and Gendo's
yes.
evil. So
the fact that I have to think so hard about it means yes, you're right.
Yeah. So and Shinji being the self-insert of Anno.
Of everyone.
Everyone is like a self-insert of Anno, really. But yeah, everybody who watches the show.
Stop fucking whispering.
I'm sorry, dude. It's so hard to not go off track with this because you'll be talking about one thing and it's like, oh, that relates to 800 other fucking things in the show. You know?
It does.
And it's tough. But so at the end, he dissolves everybody into one being. And if this was not an anime, this scene would be too on the nose. You would see this scene. I'm going to describe this scene to you. And anyone who has not seen the anime will think, holy shit, this is the most ridiculous on the nose shit. So, big Buddhist / satanic / transhumanist organization has succeeded, with Shinji's help, in dissolving all of humanity into one being, Buddhist style. Shinji is currently seemingly having sex with Rei inside of that reality. I mean, they're kind of fused together, but they're in the position of having sex. But at the very least, he's in that reality. He's there. Rei is telling him right then, this is what you wanted. This happened because you wanted to not be in a world of suffering. Shinji then picks up a crucifix, looks at it, and says, this isn't right. This doesn't feel right. And then puts on the cross and then undoes all of it. If this was any other medium, you would say, that is the most blatant Christian propaganda I have ever seen. But because it's weird fucking anime, you say, that can't be, no. That's
You know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, you're going to say the quote that everyone says, which is just dumb. But go ahead. Do you at least understand what I'm saying, though? Do you see my point?
I get it. Yeah, I get it. You ready for the quote?
Yeah, I mean, I know the quote. You can...
This is from the assistant director, Kazuya Tsurumaki.
Yeah, so not Hideaki Anno, the guy in charge of everything.
There are a lot of giant robot shows in Japan, and we did want our story to have a religious theme to help distinguish us. Because Christianity is an uncommon religion in Japan, we thought it would be mysterious. Which is just funny to think about.
Yeah.
None of the staff who worked on EVA are Christians. None of them are Christians.
Well, that's only 2% of the Japanese population, so I could have assumed that.
There is no actual Christian meaning to the show. We just thought the visual symbols of Christianity look cool. If we had known the show would get distributed in the US and Europe, we might have rethought that choice.
Yeah, that quote is often cited as a pure, blatant lie. Because it's so obvious watching the show.
Do you think Hideaki Anno is a Christian?
No, that's irrelevant. Because if you follow the truth, you'll find true things even among pagans.
Then why is it a cross?
Well,
I agree with you, but that doesn't explain why it's explicitly a cross necklace he puts on.
Well, the explanation can't be that it's just a random symbol. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make any sense either.
Yes.
And Dalton, my to refute this point is he says it was just the visual symbols. What about the door of Guff a real Jewish idea that is very obscure. You would have to know about like Jewish theology to know about, which never shows up in the show as a visual. There's no symbol of it, but is like very important to the plot of the show. Their idea that it's only visual symbols they used, and yet they heavily researched like Christian and Jewish theology, it shows that they're full of shit. You can't say that, oh, we just use the symbols because we look cool. Oh, that esoteric Gnostic idea that no one knows about? Yeah, that's quinky-dink.
You think they knew about it? You think Hideaki Anno
do you know what the door
researched this stuff?
Do you know what the Door of Guff is?
I have no idea what the Door of Guff is.
Hideaki Anno did, because it's a major plot point of the show.
And did he get it right?
Yes, he got it right. The Door of Guff, it's the opening to the Chamber of Guff, which is a Jewish idea. It's a storehouse of souls. It's where all souls are kept before they're put in like a body on Earth.
Okay.
And that storehouse will eventually run out, which is the point at which the end of the world will happen. Which they mention during the show many times. Birth rates are lower and lower over the news and everything, like in the background. Uh-huh. And they mentioned that Rey, after being cloned that last time, all the other clones had no souls because the Chamber of Guff was empty. And what happened right after that? The world ended. They got it exactly right, and it's an extremely obscure thing. And that's only one example of this. Like, they had to have done extensive research to know all of this. And then they go on to say, no, it was just visuals. Like, they're full of shit. Not to mention that that's just the assistant director. Hideaki Anno maybe the assistant director didn't fucking know anything.
Interesting. Okay, the Door of Guff thing, you got me.
Yeah.
I have no.
I'd never heard of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it sounds like you've done some research.
I had to do research to know what it was, and there are other things like that in the show.
So, do you think that when Shinji put on the cross, that was Christian?
Yeah.
That was advocating a Christian lifestyle?
I think it is possible that was it's hard to square because, of course, like, Anno...
It's very hard to square.
Well, no, because Anno is using Christian, not just symbols, but ideas. And he's using Christian ideas in opposition, in this case, to the villains of the show. But he himself is not Christian. So... is he using it just at, like you have to ask why? Like, why is he doing that? And I don't have a good answer. Like, why does he choose Christianity to be the answer and the Buddhism and stuff to be the villain in the show? I don't know why he did that.
Yeah.
But he did. And like, if I'm the death of the author, if I'm just looking at the show, like I said, any other circumstance, I'd say that's too on the nose. It's only because he's a Japanese guy and this is an anime that I don't even consider it at first. But like, imagine a Western guy made that scene. It's too on the nose.
I would make that scene.
Yeah, I think it's good, actually. I think it's a good, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Death of the author, it's actually a good scene. What we see is Shinji Ikari reject the easy answer. He rejects a life without suffering. He rejects sexual degeneracy. He rejects everyone telling him to kill people or just like, he rejects all of it to continue to live in a life with suffering while looking at a cross and saying, like, this life of no suffering feels wrong.
Okay.
And isn't the cross the symbol of suffering as well?
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah, okay. Okay, all right. Let's move on.
Okay. So then, further than that, when you go into the idea of pleasure and, well, I guess first I should say, Hideaki Anno clearly meant for when you finish watching the show, you would improve your life. And I can say that 100% because there's a part of the movies that were released after the show had finished where he included letters from people who had wrote in after seeing the show, and the letters said, for instance, I've got it written down, it was along the lines of, I'm a middle school student like Shinji. After watching the show, thanks to Shinji, I've started to like myself again, and that's made me very happy. And he said, like, I've been trying to improve my life because of this. I appreciate this, Hideaki Anno. And to be clear, that letter's fake. because he said that he got letters like that, but for legal reasons he couldn't include any of them.
Oh, okay.
So he had the staff rewrite a letter and like a number of them that
like the gist of.
Yeah, exactly, the gist of it. But what that means is two things. One, people watched this show and got out of their depression and improved their lives. That's number one. That's practically shows that this show is good.
That's baffling to me.
And this was multiple letters. Like this, he got this response a lot. It also shows that during the process of him editing these letters, he didn't choose to just like take those out because that's not the point he wanted the show to have. So the show improved people's lives, and Hideaki Anno wanted it to improve people's lives.
Okay.
So that's another point that I think is very, very worth pointing out. Because if at the end of the day we're asking, will this send you to hell? Apparently it's improving people's lives. So, okay. Further than that, I would say, I'm just trying to figure out if there's anything else I want to mention before I get to like the very...
You're not even at the big one yet?
There's a big conclusion to all of this.
Give me the big conclusion.
I think I just want to make sure there's not one more thing. Yeah, I think that's it. So he the other aspect that you want to look at with all of this is it's just Shinji coming to terms with his problems. Like even though, well, but you've got two parallel things happening. This show gets bigger and bigger stakes until at the very end of the show, you have the entire world being killed. While at the same time, the show gets more and more personal to where at the end of the show, no one is alive except Shinji, and it's just about his problems. Mm-hmm. And they talk about, part of the reason for this is they talk about reality and the idea that there's the truth, but then there's also how you perceive the truth, and that will literally affect, like that is your reality. Like if you see the world as you're a shitty person and everybody hates you, then you live in a world where everybody hates you. And if you live in a world where nobody exists, then really nobody exists. They may as well not exist. Which is an interesting point in its own. But also, they go even further with this sort of dual direction by giving the message that it is important that Shinji makes the moral choice here. It is literally the decision between whether or not the entire world lives or dies. Why? Like, really? There's no reason. There is no point in the show where it says Shinji is the savior of all mankind because...
Yeah.
There's no reason at all.
I agree. It was kind of unclear.
But the reason is because this... I mean, you could say, like, it's because it's Hideaki Anno's self-insert and he's a fucking, narcissistic. But I don't think that's it.
I like to give benefit of the doubt, except in terms of pedophilia.
The reason is that he's giving the message, whether intentional or not, that morality at the individual level is the fate of the world. I've made the joke on stream before. People ask, like, why is the world so shitty? Mm-hmm. And it's because you masturbate. Yeah. I'd like to point out that the world ended after the only time Shinji masturbates in the show. And I don't think that's a coincidence at all, because the masturbation is supposed to show his lowest low. He publicly masturbates, not public, but like in a public setting, on top of a 14-year-old girl, and then says, like, what does he say? He says, like, I'm disgusting or something like that. I'm fucked up.
I'm so fucked up. By the way, in the Netflix version, it's different.
Oh, really?
I'm the lowest of the low.
Oh, interesting. I just said lowest of the low.
I like I'm fucked up better.
Yeah. But so, like, that's his lowest point, and that is followed by the world ending. And it shows that, like what I was...
that's... Okay. I think that's a bit of a stretch...
No, because like I said, okay.
I think that's especially considering the Japanese view, and now I'm being racist again.
See, and that's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
He said I'm so fucked up, so you can't see the Japanese saw it as a good thing.
Okay, I guess. Okay.
But I mean, otherwise, this is the reason. This is the explanation for why Shinji is the person who determines all morality in the world. Like, he determines the outcome of the entire. Not determines all morality.
I see how it could be read that way.
Yeah. Yes. So the reason is to give the message that you need to take responsibility for, like, your actions. You need to not run away, not just because it's better for you or it's better for other people, but it is the fate of all mankind, whether or not you in particular win the battle against good, like between good and evil.
Okay.
And like that's the message. And
That's
a message I've been telling people. Like it is at a real level true that the world we live in is fucked up.
Explain to me the end, the last shot.
So the last shot's simple. He decides to live in a world of suffering. He decides not to take the easy way out, just live in a world of suffering.
He's attempted murdering Asuka.
So what he does, the moment he's back into a world of suffering, a world where there are other people again who he can hurt, he makes sure that he's in a world of suffering by choking Asuka. Then realizes that she's actually reacting to it, and he's back in, like, somehow after everyone's died, he's actually back in a world of suffering. He cries bittersweet tears and stops choking her because he realizes, I'm in the real world again, which, bitter, it's fucked up, I have to deal with suffering again, but sweet, my life matters again, there is morality again.
That's how you saw the last scene?
Actually, I think that's the very common interpretation of the scene. I don't think that's
Oh.
a lot of what I said is not common.
Well at all.
I mean, he doesn't kill her. He stops after she starts reacting and then cries, and that's why. I mean, otherwise you have to ask yourself, why did he do that? And I think it's pretty clear once you know.
I wouldn't say that's clear at all in the slightest.
Well, I will say this is the part that I think actually a lot of people would agree, at least with that very last scene. I think that's the common explanation.
Maybe I did not come across.
I don't know, but so the message of the show, to be clear, is interacting with other people is worth it. Doing things for other people. Also, the letters show that his job was worth it. Doing things for other people to help them out is worth it.
Okay.
Like helping their souls or helping them improve their lives is worth it.
Wait, no. Helping? No. That wasn't in there.
What do you mean? The letters.
No. Where does it show the letters?
It's in the movie.
In the end of Evangelion?
You remember the part with the audience?
Yeah.
It's in that part. They flash by really fast, but they're all there, yeah. And like he makes 8 of the letters the exact same letter so that when they flash by, you can read them. They're in Japanese, but in my version, they translated them too. Otherwise, it would have taken fucking forever.
Maybe
they might not have translated it in your.
Yeah,
but they literally like the first 8 letters that they show are like the same letter, so that you'll read parts of it, like you'll get it, you know.
Okay.
But and that's
maybe I just completely missed that in the Netflix version.
Yeah, that's during the audience section.
But the connecting with other people that's a slam dunk. That's obviously we know what that is. I'm not saying it's a slam dunk that it sends you to heaven. I'm saying it's a slam dunk. You're right about what it's about.
Okay.
But the helping other people, it's that the helping part isn't really in the show, other than talking about the letters thing.
It's okay.
It's not in the rest of the show.
Well, no, it is insofar as like that. I was just giving a summary of all the themes. I don't think that's the strongest theme. You know what I mean? But that's shown in him asking, "Why do you use the Evangelion? Why do you fight?" Which isn't resolved at the very end of the show, because the end of the show just resolves like his connection with other people and the morality.
I'm gonna ignore this one particular point.
Okay, whatever. That's fine. So, what's the show about? You need to connect with other people.
Okay.
It's worth doing even though you'll hurt each other. It's worth living in a world of suffering because goodness exists. That goodness in this case being other people and being the connection with other people. And that is, to some extent an answer to the problem of pain. He's giving an answer saying that is why it is worth living in a world of suffering, because for us, there has to be suffering if we're individuals. And we can't do good and evil. We can't have relationships if we're not individuals. Okay. And then also, your morality is affects other people. You doing the right thing is the difference between the salvation and death of the entire civilization. You as an individual, you watching at home who relates to Shinji, whether or not you masturbate is a huge moral question. And is important much beyond.
That's a big stretch.
Dalton, it's his decision at the end was the difference.
No, you're right. But then you told me about the masturbation thing, and
Oh, no. I don't think the scene in the hospital is Hideaki Anno saying specifically masturbation makes... I'm using masturbation as an example of morality. Hideaki Anno is just saying your morality and your answer to moral questions is that important.
I would still say that one is a stretch because that comes... that would naturally come with the other decision to whether or not to end the world.
Right, but why does he have the decision to end the world? That's the reason. Like otherwise there's no explanation for why Shinji has the power. Like, why is he chosen?
So I saw that as somewhat arbitrary, which I guess it is, but just like that was more of a finding yourself type thing. Looking so inward.
Even if you take it that way, it would show, which I think is a worse way to phrase it, it would show that finding yourself is that important. If you find yourself, everyone lives. If you don't, everyone dies.
I don't like finding yourself, though. I don't like that.
Well, I think it's morality because he makes the moral decision to live in a world of suffering. Which is how they phrase it. Which is how they phrase it in the show, or in the movie. Living in a world of suffering. You wanted this, a world without suffering. He looks at the cross and says, "This isn't right." Right, as in moral, right and wrong. He says this world without suffering is not right. Looking at a cross. Puts the cross on, revives the entire world. Like, it couldn't be, it like I said, it's on the nose. It's just that it's anime, so you don't think of it that way. And I think that is...
I still don't.
And I think that's an amazing message. I don't know of another show or movie or anything that gives that idea that your morality is that important. It is a war between good and evil, and the fate of mankind rests on it.
I think that's one interpretation.
I think it's...
And I'm really not trying to be obstinate here. It's just, I think, Hideaki Anno himself said there's multiple ways to interpret it. And
yeah, but death of the author, so fuck him.
Fuck him for other reasons.
The thing is, that's the thing, is like, I have no idea what Hideaki Anno meant by the cross thing. But I have to say that the work of art itself has a clear message with looking at the cross and saying this isn't right. Like, you know what I mean?
I still.
Otherwise, what does that mean?
I still think it's Japanese, and it doesn't.
It doesn't mean anything.
I think. Well, the cross was Misato's, right?
Yeah.
He's thinking about Misato. That's how I would read that. Obviously.
This isn't right. The thing that Misato also wanted. That doesn't make any sense. Misato also wanted to dissolve into everybody else. That's what she was doing with all the other guys the whole time. That was kind of the point of that. So that wouldn't make any sense. Thinking about Misato, yeah, I bet Misato wouldn't like this thing that she wanted.
Well, he was thinking about other people. What if other people were there?
Yeah, he would hurt them. That's the, you know what I mean? That wouldn't change anything. That wouldn't change his mind. That's what he's been thinking about the whole time.
I'm sorry. I don't.
I think you are being obstinate, but it's fine.
I'm not trying to be. I'm really not trying to be.
I think there's no other way. It's you do have to have a bit of faith that there is a message to the show, right?
And I do. But I think the real biggest message is it's important to connect with other people.
That was clearly Anno's biggest message. I think the morality thing is also intentional by Anno. But maybe not to the full extent that it actually shows up in the movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think if that were pulled off better and more explicitly, then yeah, that would be a clear send you to heaven thing.
Well, 2 points.
Which is ignoring everything I've said about the sexuality in the show.
2 points, though. 2 points. One, actually just 1 point. Practically, it pulled off very well, considering the letters of people sending in saying this show is improving my life. Other people seem to have gotten the message.
I guess they did.
Yeah. So I mean, if we're talking just practically, this show is not only a show that would send you to to heaven. It's a show that seems to have already been sending people to heaven.
Well, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know what they did with their lives, but they were at least, it had a positive effect. Seemingly from the letters. I don't know them.
So the clear and most obvious one, it's important to connect with other people.
That's not how I would phrase it. I would phrase that other people
are worth connecting
with, even though it leads to suffering. Individuality, you could even say, is worth existing.
Explain to me how that one sends you to heaven.
Individuality being worth existing? If you don't believe that, you're a Buddhist or a Hindu. I mean, individuality is very important to Christianity.
Okay, let's go with the connecting to other people is worth it.
Well, if you don't connect to love your neighbor as yourself.
Well, yeah, but it's my issue is that seems to be a very milquetoast theme to have.
It's in the Bible.
No. Not.
And it's literally what happens. Love your neighbor as yourself.
That's not what I'm talking
He
about.
had
That's
to love
not what I'm
himself
talking
first.
about. That's not what I'm talking about. Stop. It's more about connecting with other people, right? Which to me seems like social. Like get out of your shell. Go talk to people. Give people a chance.
That's I disagree with your major premise that it's mostly about associating with
That's
other people.
how I saw it.
Well, then why did they all dissolve into one person? They could have just had him locked up somewhere. Again, you're assuming.
Yeah, they could have done that too. Yes.
Right, but they didn't. The show did not show that. You know what I'm saying? Like what the show actually showed was the importance of like individuals existing. So
here's another question I have to why, and I don't. Okay, here's another question I have about that. Is there anybody who really, actually maybe in the East, yes, but is there anyone actually questioning like individuality is stupid? But now I'm seeing like okay,
yes,
maybe
all Eastern religions are about
in the East, yes, maybe.
And those Eastern religions are very popular in the West with people like Freud, for instance, who he's clearly well read in.
Yeah, but that's not like it doesn't seem like
transhumanist ideas also center around a singularity, not just for machines, but also for humans reaching a hive mind. It's also a point of many science fiction novels, which he's probably read, considering the genre this is in.
But
so, yes,
do you know people in your life ever who thought like, man, it'd be best if we were all just the exact same individuality? It doesn't see. There's no individuality.
That's not how you phrase it. But yes, I've
Really?
read like hippies who believe we are all one and we need to realize that because it'll get rid of suffering. That's extremely common, Dalton. Remember earlier when you said if you met someone from California, this would be the example of someone from California. That is an extremely common thing. That's just the hippy-dippy mentality of like, we're all one, dude. You're not really you and I'm not me. It's like fake, dude. We're the same.
But that guy's trying to find himself. Like Shinji.
Yeah, so that's why Hideaki Anno shows that that's the wrong way to do it. He shows that as a false solution. And ironically, maybe just by happenstance, and I think maybe even probably by happenstance, he shows the correct way to do it is Christianity. I will admit that specifically was probably just coincidence. But that is what the movie portrays. It does portray that the way to do it, not Buddhism, not hippy-dippy shit, Christianity.
I will conclude by saying maybe.
Okay. I think I made a semi-convincing. I kind of want to make a video about this, honestly.
That's original. A video about Neon Genesis Evangelion?
I mean, I think it'd be... Oh, actually, I didn't even mention that. This is a little tidbit. Hideaki Anno obviously thought this message was very important for the world because he named it Shinseki, I think it is, Evangelion, which does not mean Neon Genesis Evangelion, which would mean New
You've
said
Genesis. This. You said this at the start
No,
of the show.
we said this on the one that was cut.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So the actual translation is New Century Gospel. So it's not clear. It's an ambiguous title. Like, is it a replacement for the old gospel, or is it bringing the gospel to a new century? And considering the cross at the end, it seems to be bringing the gospel to a new century. But also just the title in itself shows you don't name your show something like that unless you think the message is very important. Just an aside. I thought it was interesting that the title is never translated correctly, and when you translate correctly, it puts it in a different light. Also, the angels aren't called angels in Japanese.
What are they called?
It's shito, which means apostle or disciple.
Oh, well, same ballpark.
But all the names, like the specific names, are angel names, like Gnostic angel names. So it's like, whatever, you know.
So I guess, Michael, you're going to say it sends you to heaven?
Yeah, I think absolutely. And I think practically we could see there's a lot of evidence that it does.
Well, I'm going to say it might, but I'm going to say that risk is also too high.
What if you censored the sexual scenes? Then what would you say?
Then I would say for the majority of people, it's still a waste of time.
Why?
Because I don't think... In what you're saying, I could see the value in it for maybe some shut-in, neat otaku guys.
You mean the target of the show?
Yeah. But not the target...
Well,
maybe the target of our podcast.
That literally is the target audience of the show, and maybe this show, yes. So...
I just...
And also, that's like most of Japanese society, and a very large portion, if not most of American society. So that's a lot of people. You can't just wave that off like, oh yeah, for that minority, that's a lot of people.
Well, I think the
that's the new century, new century gospel.
Interesting too. It takes place in the 2000s, and it was made in the 90s, so it was like the new century.
Yeah, the end of the world was actually just Y2K.
Yeah. Oh, I wish. Yeah, I think it's too easy to miss a lot of what happened in the end. Even the nice stuff you're talking about, I think it's easy to miss.
Well, I was surprised you thought he killed Asuka.
No, you're right. She
because she didn't die.
She has the last line.
She has the last line. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you probably don't need to hear the message. You might be able to hear the message better elsewhere. And you got to get through a lot of uncomfortable scenes with underage girls to get to it. And I don't know. I feel like it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
I disagree. I think especially for who this the target audience of this is, there is a good chance they will get a lot out of this and turn their life around, as a lot of people have. And I'd say, especially after hearing this podcast, you might look at more of like the Christian, like, I want to watch the show again.
So I guess really, so the next episode we're going to do the rebuilds. I don't know if it's going to be in 1 week or 2 weeks, but we're going to do the rebuilds. I really want to hear... So I've accepted that maybe, perhaps for certain people, it would be good to watch this. Okay. I'll give you that. I think majority don't do it.
I think you underestimate how many people are fucking shut-ins.
No, that's why I'm saying if you want to prove me wrong, send in your emails. I would prefer it if you wanted to prove me right. but
I watched the show and I became more of a degenerate.
Yeah, send me
possible.
that.
Possible. I'm not going to
that.
pretend it's not.
I don't want to not like things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't see a lot of value in the show outside of the art, which is fucking fantastic. And the voice acting is also good.
Yeah. Music.
Yeah.
The intro theme's great. And a lot of the soundtrack is very good.
If you watched it and you didn't find yourself becoming pretentious, because I think many do. You didn't. I thought you might have. I was prepared for that, but you didn't. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You didn't do anything pretentious. I think some people can get into the thing. I think I might have said it earlier. This is hard to understand. Now I'm smart, and because
I made that joke once during this.
Yeah, I know, but there's certain lines in it where I think I might have written them down where it's like, if Michael says it's so smartly written, I'll say like, explain to me what the fuck this line means.
You had rebuttals ready in case I started doing that?
There's some lines that I think you gotta admit, it's just like, that's stupid.
Well, I want to hear them. I just want to hear what's
now
stupid.
It's dark in here.
I know, it's getting late.
The sun has set. I can't read him anymore.
Okay.
Maybe I'll talk about him in the rebuilds. I think the rebuilds might be cool. I'm interested because I think the it's important to go out and connect with people. I think that's that's a young man's moral, and I'm very interested to see him. It's the rebuilds. They're kind of similar to the stories, I imagine.
I think the first one is just like a retelling of the story, and the ones after that get more and more different.
Because I
haven't seen them.
I really want to see Hideaki Anno's like growth. I'm kind of really excited for that
because there's a couple reasons why. One, he's not depressed anymore.
You're doing a lot of numbered lists in this episode.
You were doing it earlier, and it made me start doing it again. Because you were going 1 through 2, 3, 4, 5.
You're blaming it on me?
I don't know, dude. It just rubbed off on me.
Like Shinji. More like cringy. So...
he's not... you interrupted my list, dude.
What? I don't want to... I'm sick of your fucking list.
We're talking about Hideaki Anno.
Okay.
With the rebuilds.
Yeah, he's getting older. It's going to be interesting to see him grow.
What's interesting also, he's not depressed anymore.
He's had success now?
He's had success. And also, people have talked about this is supposed to be...
I wonder if the girls are younger in the next one.
People have talked about this show is supposed to be like too otaku. Like at the very most basic level, if the theme is like get out of your shell, connecting with other people is worth doing, even if you suffer, then that's mostly pointed at the shut-ins in Japan. Mm-hmm. And they've said that ironically, what has happened is all these shut-ins got obsessed with like Asuka and Rei and became weirder, more shut-in otaku.
That is the risk I'm talking about with watching.
And so that's
exactly why I think it's probably not worth it.
Possible. I think listening to this episode.
Thank you for summarizing. I knew I felt this way. I couldn't find the words for it because that's what I was saying. It's creepy. It's pervy. It's pervy in a Japanese way. That's exactly what I mean.
Otaku's got the wrong message out of it, but still shows that you can get that wrong message.
I wish you had said that so long ago because I would have said, correct. That's how I feel, Michael.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, so I will admit then that there is that risk because it seems to have happened with a lot of people. But that makes me even more interested in what he does with the rebuilds because if that's the case, that's what he intended, and for some people it went the opposite direction, I wonder if the rebuilds are going to be him like, you fucking idiot, that is not what I wanted you to get out of the movie!
Honestly, that would change my opinion on the show.
Right? Because
I think I still have some problems, but that would change a lot.
And I think it's very possible that
That's interesting.
I hope the rest of these movies are Hideaki Anno being like, you didn't get it.
Yeah. So yeah, send in your emails. willitsendmetohell@gmail.com. I want to know: are you now whacking off to Asuka night and day, or are you now learning a skill?
Yeah, exactly.
Have you decided to reconcile with your parents or whatever?
One last thing too. We've done this on a couple shows where we recommend like if the show is something that would send you to hell or the movie or whatever, then like an alternative. And this one I think this one would send you to heaven. That's my opinion. But I admit that it's risky. Yeah. And certain people, a pornography problem, don't watch it. Otherwise, I think especially having listened to this, you're mostly clear because you'll think about the themes a little more in this way. But as an alternative, there's a show, Angel Beats. It's literally about, like, is life worth living even though there's suffering? And I think it does it much clearer. I cried watching it. I certainly didn't fucking cry watching Evangelion, even though I think it's really good. I didn't cry watching it. You can understand it on your first watch. I recommend it. Maybe we'll cover it at some point. That's one your wife loved, too, so you can ruin it for her.
I would love to. I don't like anime.
It's good. Trust me. It's really good. But so I recommend that if you're like Evangelion looks too risky for me based on what they said. Angel Beats, no nudity, and much clearer. I think actually better done.
Oh well now I gotta think of an alternative. If this kind of thing is gonna send you to hell.
Yeah, I mean you're the one who says it's send you to hell, so you should have had an alternative.
I didn't know. I forgot we did.
Next week we'll say watch the rebuilds instead.
Yeah, maybe
I don't know.
Read I guess read The Problem of Pain by C.S. Lewis.
Oh, interesting. That's an interesting alternative. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that kind of addresses a lot of the same kind of shit.
It's different because a story hits you differently, but that is an alternative. That's true.
It's a short read. It's a fun book to read. He makes some interesting points. I'm gonna read that book again. I'm thinking about it more. I really like it.
No, I haven't read it.
you're pretty much knowledgeable enough. You might not need to, but there are some really, especially if you're more of a beginner. There's some really interesting points.
I gotta read more Aquinas. Is what I gotta read.
Yeah, I gotta read more.
Summa Theologica is good.
I gotta read more in general.
I can't believe how it's like actually easy to read. No, everybody lies about it.
So here's the official positions. Michael says yes, risky. I say no because it's risky.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
That's all, folks.
that's all, folks. Join us next time when we talk about the rebuilds. Like I said, send in your emails. Prove me wrong or prove me right. I would much rather be proved right, but wrong is cool too. As long as we get to truth. That's the important thing. Say your prayers.
Don't jack off over an unconscious woman's body in a hospital.
Especially if she's 14.
Especially in that case.
Yeah.
And till next time.
Till next time.